Here we are, guys, in part 22 of this story. In the land of waves, our favorite blonde encounters the QB. Watch the subsequent events unfold as Naruto uses the power that was sealed inside of him on the day of his birth. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Now, let's begin. The dawn of day 5 came. While some teams relaxed and rested themselves, others still struggled to gain the scrolls they needed to advance to the third round. Currently, the teams that were in the base were Team 7, Team 8, Team Yugito, Team Fu, Team Gaara, and that team of Kumo Ninja who tried to take advantage of Team 7. Naruto made his way through the base to where the kitchen was so that he could get some breakfast. Sakura had insisted that she wanted to sleep in for the first time in ages, and Sasuke had disappeared, most likely with Kakashi to one of the dojos to train. Team 8, with the exception of Shino, was following Sakura's lead and getting in the first night of good sleep they had in weeks. Naruto figured he would find Sasuke and Kakashi and train after he got some food in his system. Upon arriving at the kitchen, Naruto noticed the two male members of the Taki team and their sensei. At first, he didn't think much of it, as he went on to make breakfast. Sadly, he wasn't able to have ramen, seeing as Sakura had confiscated it the night before and insisted he eat something healthy, or at least something besides ramen. For once, Naruto was busy enjoying a simple breakfast with some of the rice balls that he had sealed in the scroll, until the mood in the room froze. The three Taki ninjas' attention turned to the doorway of the kitchen, the same scornful look that had tortured Naruto for his life, now on their face, only it wasn't directed towards him. The three Taki ninja picked up their breakfast and made their way out of the kitchen, past their green-haired teammate, who was the focus of their looks. On their way out, one of the Jonin gave her a hard nudge that sent her staggering a few steps. As Fu clenched her fist, her attention was drawn to the blonde in the room looking at her. "What do you want?" she asked angrily. "Can't stand me at all? Think I'm a nuisance who should just disappear like all the others?" What?" asked a now confused Naruto. "Forget it, what would you know? You're just like the rest of them anyways, except for Bug Boy from yesterday, but he just seemed creepy," said Fu. "You mean Shino, don't you?" replied Naruto, causing Fu to raise an eyebrow. "Anyways, I know what you're talking about. The way your team looks at you, hoping you would just vanish so that they wouldn't have to deal with you, hating your very existence. I know it seems impossible, thinking that no one cares for you, only wanting you gone from their lives. Impossible that there's never going to be someone who cares about you. And yet, you're stuck wondering why this happened to you. After all, you had no control over what happened, and the people can't seem to understand that you're just a lonely person looking for someone to call a friend." Fu stared in awe at the first person who managed to read her. How?" asked Fu. "Because I know how it feels. I've lived my entire life with the villagers of Konoha hating me, wanting nothing more than for me to cease to exist," said Naruto, placing his hand over his stomach. "I know what you have sealed inside you. It can be either a curse or a blessing, depending on how you look at things. For me, it's a blessing. Sure, life's been hard, but everything I've accomplished up till now, every friend I've made, I feel like I've truly earned." "But how?" asked Fu. "You already have one person, or a guest demon in your case. They aren't what most people think. Try talking to her and you'll be surprised. Otherwise, never give up and do everything in your power to show people who you really are, not what they see you as. And once you form a bond with someone, do everything in your power to keep it going," explained Naruto, flashing Fu his signature grin. "I once had a bond with someone. Shibi, the previous leader of our village," said Fu. Naruto felt like he knew the name from somewhere. "That's right. That's the man Orochimaru killed so that he could get to Sasuke. He was warm and kind, he cared for me and I saw him as a grandfather. But then he was taken by some freak and now his son, Shibuki, the new leader of the village, wants nothing to do with me. In fact, I overheard him hoping that I would manage to get myself killed somehow in these exams." Naruto's fists clenched. He already was angry at Orochimaru for taking away the Sandaime, his grandfather figure, attacking Konoha, and a bunch of other things. Now he couldn't help but hate the snake more for taking away Fu's only human bond she had. "Listen to me on this. I know the man who killed your grandfather, or at least the closest thing you had to one. He tried to take away one of my strongest bonds, and that was the reason he killed your Gigi. For that, I'm sorry." "It's okay. Your village sent us a report implicating some guy called Orochimaru in the murder of Gigi and using his image to lure your team into a trap," she said. "But how did you save them?" "Shibi Gigi was the strongest ninja I knew and even he failed." "If he failed, then how did you make it?" "Because I believed in my strength and my friend's strength. I had already lost my Gigi to the same snake and I'll be damned if I let him take anything else," said Naruto. "It's my Nindo. To never go back on my word." To become stronger to protect those bonds that I have worked so hard to achieve. If I may ask, who was your Gigi? Asked Fu. He was the Hokage, or at least the previous one. He was the one who watched over me as a child and the one who was there for me, said Naruto. When everyone else wanted to see me vanish, he was there to comfort me. Shibi sounds a lot like the Hokage, and if I know him like I knew the Hokage Gigi, then he wouldn't want you to suffer like this. He would want you to try and make friends, well, at least more friends anyways. What are you talking about? There's no one in Taki who will be my friend, said Fu. That doesn't mean you should give up. Someone's bound to come through eventually. Besides, you've already got a friend in me and Shino. I know he may seem a little creepy at first, but he's really a great guy and he's there when you need him, explained Naruto. And if you want another friend, try talking to Chome. Oh, and if you do, tell her Kurama says hi. Now I'm sorry, but I've got to go find the rest of my team. The exam's not quite over yet. As Naruto left to go search for Kakashi-sensei and Sasuke, Fu was left wondering. She made her way back to the room she had been assigned, thinking on everything the blonde had said. Perhaps she should go talk to Shino and see if he really wanted to be her friend. Speaking of talking to friends, who was Chome? Suddenly, Fu couldn't help it as she slipped into unconsciousness. Naruto wandered his way through the lower level of the base, hoping to find Sasuke or Kakashi-sensei. He had been spending 15 minutes going from training room to training room. There really were a lot of them on that level, until he heard an explosion come from one. He entered the room just in time to avoid a blast of lightning from Sasuke as it collided into the chakra-reinforced target next to the door he entered through. Hey Dobi, watch it, called out Sasuke. What did you mean, watch it? Why don't you watch where you're aiming? Shouted Naruto. Kakashi was immediately defusing the situation, blaming it on faulty placement of the target. Anyways, I'm surprised and impressed that you managed to get the jutsu, said Kakashi. Huh? It sounds like you know it, said Sasuke. I do. It's a jutsu that a clan Ine regarded closely due to its power. However, in terms of power, I would say Chidori either matches it or is a little stronger, as you were able to stop it with said jutsu. I will say that's one jutsu we've been trying to get from Iwa for years now, but it seems like you've done the work for us, said Kakashi. Seriously, it's like none of them have ever fought the Sharingan before, said Sasuke. Kakashi chuckled a bit at that. Anyways, what's up, Naruto? Nothing much. I've got nothing better to do, said Naruto. That's why I always carry a book on me. Never know when you're going to have nothing to do, said Kakashi, holding up the latest Icha. Well, I do have my great-grandfather's book, but I've already looked through it and well, there's not really much in it. It looks as if it should have a lot of sealing knowledge in it, but there's nothing besides different types of sealing written on the pages, said Naruto, pulling out an old black book, about the same size as Kakashi's Icha, and having an Uzumaki swirl on the cover. Naruto flipped through the pages, showing Kakashi exactly what he meant. All that were written on the pages were titles such as barrier seals, amplification seals, and other types of seals, but nothing else. Ow, spat Naruto as he nicked the side of his finger on one of the pages. Quit complaining, it's only a paper cut, said Sasuke. Naruto watched as a single drop of blood managed to trickle out of the cut before it healed itself. The blood ran down his finger and dripped onto the page that he had opened. Naruto jumped back, dropping the book when a seal on said page lit up in a large scroll, about the size of the forbidden scroll, puffed. Well, what did you know? A blood seal, said Kakashi, almost in an I told you so fashion. Well, at least we know one thing for sure, you are an Uzumaki, otherwise you wouldn't have been able to get past that blood seal. Kakashi, who exactly are the Uzumaki? Asked Sasuke. You mean you don't know? Asked Kakashi in slight disbelief. You were supposed to learn this back in the academy, as the Uzumaki had a huge part in the founding of Konoha. Wait, you mean the Uzumakis helped found Konoha with my ancestors and the Senju? Then why haven't I heard of the clan? Asked Sasuke. Because they weren't in Konoha. They had their own village called Yozoshiogaku no Sato. That's where Uro-sen and I went while you were getting private training from Kakashi, said Naruto. This was where Kakashi took over. The Uzumaki were responsible for aiding the Senju and Uchiha in the formation of Konoha. It is believed that without them, Konoha would have never been formed, which is also one reason why we wear the Uzumaki spiral on the back of our standard uniform. As for who exactly they are, well, I would have to go all the way back to the legends surrounding the Sage of the Six Paths, said Kakashi, until he stopped, his attention drawn towards the open door. Looks like we have a visitor. You know, you don't have to keep hiding like that for me anymore, called out Naruto, a smiling Hinata popping her head out from behind the door. But you guys sounded like you were discussing something important, replied Hinata, walking up next to Naruto. Besides, it's fun to see how close I can get. Well, it's not something that's really a secret, so you can join us if you want. But just answer this. Did you learn about the Uzumaki back in the academy? Asked Kakashi. There may have been a slight mention of the name, but nothing else. No history, no relations they had with Konoha, answered Hinata. Kakashi sighed. This really was supposed to be a major part of Konoha history. Anyways, the legend surrounding the sage states that he had two sons, the elder son who inherited the sage's eyes and younger son who inherited the sage's body. Legend states that the elder son's descendants eventually formed the Uchiha clan while the younger son's descendants formed the Senju clan. I believe you know about that, Sasuke. Sasuke nodded, having been told about his clan history from his parents back when he was just a child. But somewhere down the line, before the Senju clan was formed, another line was formed which eventually became the Uzumaki clan. In a way, the Uzumakis are cousins of the Senju and distant relatives of the Uchiha. Now, the Uzumakis were an extremely powerful clan that were masters in various ninja arts, especially in taijutsu and kenjutsu. However, the area where they were most adept in was Fuinjutsu. Kakashi, exactly how powerful were the Uzumaki? Asked Sasuke, needing to know that fact. Before you go asking me a ton of questions, realize that I'm not the best person to ask these questions to. Besides, this is something I'd rather not talk about while in the boundaries of Kumo. I promise if you have more questions, I'll answer them once we are in the security of Konoha. For now, just know that the Uzumakis were feared by many other nations for their prowess in Fuinjutsu. As such, an alliance consisting of Kumo, Iwa, Kiri, and many other minor nations formed an alliance to wipe them out, which eventually started the Second Shinobi War. While destruction was inevitable, considering the size of the forces they were up against, the Uzumaki managed to cut the invading forces in at least half, said Naruto and Sasuke in surprise. The combined forces must have totaled at least 40,000, and for a single clan, which had maybe a few hundred members at the very most, to have eliminated tens of thousands of enemies at once, well, that was just unheard of. Yes. The other villages at that point had reason to fear the Uzumakis, and that was shown in the battles preceding the destruction of Uzumaki, explained Kakashi. So where are they now? A clan that powerful, surely some had to survive, asked Sasuke. Only a few Uzumakis managed to escape. To the best of our knowledge, there are only two left. The one who nearly lost his head just a few minutes ago and one who managed to find her way into Orochimaru's service, said Kakashi. He looked over at Naruto, who was struggling to take this in and accept it. Kakashi placed a reassuring hand on Naruto's shoulder. I'm sorry, but that's the hard truth. Naruto, you're just like me. The last of a once great clan. I never imagined you'd be anything besides the dobe of the class. But yet, here you are, doing the impossible once again and proving yourself to be worthy of being my rival, thought Sasuke. If he thought he wanted to fight against Naruto before, now he was sure he wanted to fight against Naruto. If what Kakashi said was true, then the Uzumakis were the only clan besides the Senju who could match the Uchiha. It's okay, Kakashi-sensei. Uro-sennin already told me everything, said Naruto, regaining his cheerfulness. Hey Hinata, let's go and see what Moria Gigi put inside this book. Naruto took off out of the room, dragging Hinata behind him. Morio? I've heard that name before, but where? No. It can't be? Kakashi's visible eyes shot wide open. Kakashi? Asked Sasuke, confused at his sensei's expression. It's nothing. Now why don't we see what the potential of that jutsu is now that we have any unnecessary casualties out of the way, said Kakashi. If that's who I think it is, then the Uzumaki are still lives. Naruto had dragged Hinata back to the room he and Sasuke were sharing. Okay. Let's see what Gigi has for us, shouted Naruto excitedly. Hinata just giggled at Naruto's enthusiasm. Naruto began flipping through the pages, wondering which type of seal he should start with. There. Those two would be incredibly useful for you in these competitions, called Kurama from inside Naruto's head. Naruto flipped back through the book until he found the two types of seals that Kurama had mentioned. A grin plastered his face. These would be perfect. Hinata watched as Naruto unsealed two rather large scrolls from the book and took an initial look over them. About an hour later, his brain was on the border of brain dead as he tried to understand the incredibly complex seals written on the scrolls. Hinata had sadly given up trying to help after reading the first few lines and not being able to understand them at all. This is an Uzumaki seal? Said Naruto in complete disbelief. The stuff Uro-sennin taught me doesn't even come close to the first few lines of this. There's no way, this is going to be impossible. Don't say that, Naruto, said Hinata from behind Naruto, resting her head over his shoulder. If anyone can do it, then it's you. You've always had a KNCK for doing the impossible. If I know you, you'll have those seals down in time for the third exam. You're right. I'm going to get these down. T-bio, declared Naruto, only for his stomach to protest. After some dinner. I'm starving. It was now getting late in the afternoon as Naruto and Hinata made their way towards the kitchen for some food. On the way there, they passed another two Kumo teams and the Kiri team with the Rakubi Jinchuriki. The Kiri Jinchuriki sent a massive blast of ki towards Naruto, who didn't even flinch as he had been trained by Kurama to withstand even a demon's ki. After a few moments of exchanging looks and ki, Naruto realized that there were other people in the room beginning to suffer the effects of Bijou-backed ki and they separated. "Ni-san," shouted a pleasantly surprised Hinata when Team Guy walked through the main doors with "Well, Guy." "Hinata-sama," Naruto responded. "Neji, your youthful flames burn brighter than ever for you to have beaten us here," shouted Lee. "Yeah, especially considering we were the ones with more scrolls than you last time we met," said Tenten. "Yeah, about that. Just so you know, I'm not a clone, so don't be throwing kunai at me this time," begged Naruto. This caused Tenten to laugh a little. "Don't worry. Although we ended up running into a field with a lot of dead Iwa ninja and we're hoping we could salvage a scroll from there. But they were all gone or half-burned," said Tenten. Naruto responded with an innocent grin, which being Hyuga, Neji immediately caught. "That was you, wasn't it?" "What?" both Tenten and Lee shouted in unison. Naruto sighed. "Yeah, we were ambushed by a gang of about 15 Iwa ninja, I guess with some sort of grudge with Konoha from the last war. Unfortunately, it was either kill or be killed." There was an awkward moment of silence before Naruto's and Team Guy's stomachs began rumbling, prompting a bit of laughter from everyone. Suddenly, everyone's attention was turned to the newcomer in the room. "Gaara," said Naruto. Every member of Team Guy was instantly on guard as Gaara approached them. "Hello Naruto," said Gaara. He turned to Lee. "It is good to see you here, Lee." "Yosh. It is good to be here," shouted Lee. Suddenly, Gaara bowed at Lee. "I sincerely apologize for what happened during our last meeting." This caught most of Team Guy off guard, except Neji, who still thought of Gaara as an unstable killer. As evening came to an end and night slowly approached, Naruto and Hinata found their way out onto a balcony which had a brilliant view of the setting sun between two distant peaks. "You know, it may not be as pretty as the sunset from the top of the Hokage monument, but it's still pretty beautiful," commented Hinata, snuggling into Naruto. About 2 hours later, after a little bit of stargazing, Naruto found his way back to his room. He wanted to get a long rest for tomorrow as the second exam would be coming to a close in the middle of the afternoon that same day. There was a lot of teams occupying the base already, and even with the rumors of Kumo having a lot of participants in the third exam, this still seemed like a lot and he wanted to be well rested just in case a preliminary round came up like it did in the previous exams. Naruto finally managed to drift away into dreamland. Naruto awoke to find himself in some flame-lit corridor with a bowl of ramen, of all things, in his hand. It wasn't until he started to feel and look around that he realized that he was sitting on something big, furry, and kind of reddish-orange. "Okay, where am I?" asked Naruto. "About time you woke up. I was afraid you'd be sleep eating ramen for another hour or two," called out a familiar voice. "Huh? What are you doing here, Kurama?" asked Naruto. "And where are we going?" "This is a rare occurrence, but it happens every now and then if enough of us are close by," said Kurama. "What does? And who?" asked Naruto. Before he could get an answer, the corridor opened up into a large stone-lined chamber with a circular fune pattern on the ground. "I see, so this is your kitten," said another demonic voice. Naruto looked over towards one of the other corridors, only to see a blue flaming two-tailed cat, with a particular blonde girl wearing a night robe on top of the cat's head. I thought he'd be a little bit bigger than that." "It's not my fault that his ramen obsession has prevented him from getting the proper nutrition to grow at a normal rate," retorted Kurama. Another voice was heard from another corridor and Kurama swore under his breath. "Woohoo! That was a wonderful night of killing. You should have seen the looks on those mist humans' faces." "Oh, and what about those pathetic Kumo humans? I think I set a new time record killing them." Shukaku appeared out of said corridor, with Gaara sitting on top of his head in a cross-legged position as if he was meditating. "You killed my comrades," shouted Yugito with venom in her voice. "Oh man. It was a blast," replied Shukaku. "Hey Foxy, nice seeing you here. How many did you manage to kill?" Gaara merely sighed. He had tried to awaken himself from meditation, but sadly it appeared as if he was stuck with the Shukaku's killing rants for the night. However, it got better once he noticed that Naruto and another person, who he recognized as the girl who prevented him from killing Naruto during the first exams, were there as well. What was even more surprising was the presence of two other Bijou. 15, replied Kurama. Shukaku's jaw nearly dropped, having been bested in the kill count. "What? You killed 15 people in this exam?" asked Yugito, turning her attention to Naruto. "In my defense, they were Iwa ninja who attacked my team first. Although there is a Kumo team I wouldn't mind beating up a little when they tried to kill us while we were evacuating a few injured comrades who had an unfortunate run-in with the Rakubi's Jinchuriki, defended Naruto. Oh, they were just Iwa? Then never mind, said Yugito. No one likes Iwa. This earned a laugh out of Naruto. Oi Foxy, how about letting me kill that brat of yours? You kill mine, I kill yours and we go on a rampage like good old times, offered Shukaku. How about I take that tail of yours and shove it up your ass? You should know better than the rest of us that we can't kill our Jinchuriki while in here. Besides, if anyone even thinks about killing my kid, then they'll be finding themselves tailless, threatened Kurama as Shukaku cringed and Matatabi let out a sigh. Have they always been like this? Asked Yugito. The Nibi sadly nodded. Well, I never thought I'd see the day when Kurama, of all Bijou, would grow fond of his host, said another demonic voice as it emerged from yet another tunnel. Everyone's attention turned to see a rather large bull octopus emerge from the tunnel, with the one and only killer bee riding atop its head. Figured I'd try something new for once, Juki. It gets boring being sealed for 100 years, I need something to entertain myself. Besides, there's just something about this kit, replied Kurama. Plus, I've heard what you have to put up with, and I'll take this blonde brat any day. Kurama burst out into laughter as the Hichibi sweat dropped. So can anyone answer my question? What's going on here? Asked Naruto once again. Every now and then, the Bijou meet up again. Talk, chat, and listen to the killer beats of Killer Bee. Bakayaro Kanoiro. Rap Bee. A few people demons let out a sigh. 4 of you? It's my lucky day. First my human finally decides to talk to me and now I get to see a few. Friendly, and one, bloodied face, said the Nanabi as it flew down from what appeared to be a large hole in the ceiling. Thank you, I do my best to keep up my appearance, said the Shukaku, responding to the bloodied face comment. Hey Fu, shouted Naruto, greeting his newest friend. Needless to say, the green-haired Jinchuriki couldn't help but feel surprised that Naruto, the blonde she had met earlier that day, was in the middle of a room where demons were meeting with one another, although that did explain a lot. Oog, what's that smell? Asked Yugito as she began coughing. So did a few of the other Jinchuriki. Seiken, can you keep your gas to yourself? Asked the Nanabi, using her wings to blow away the mist. Sorry, but so many Jinchuriki makes me want to kill, especially that one, the giant slug said, pointing at Naruto. Stealing those kills was a bad move, brat. I'm going to take extra pleasure in watching you suffer the next time we meet. And trust me, we will, said the Kiri Jinchuriki. What the hell is wrong with you? Shouted Naruto. All this killing? I'm only going to say this once, you touch my friends, and I'll kick your ass. Gaara took a look at the Rakubi's Jinchuriki and saw the bloodlust in his eyes. He was just like how Gaara used to be, only wanting to kill. No, something was different about this guy. His eyes were cold, no warmth existed inside this man at all. It's like his heart had been melted away by all the acid he has been exposed to. He showed no remorse for any of his actions. In fact, he rather enjoyed doing it. This was a man who had gone even further into the darkness, farther than he had ever gone, and probably too far to come back. Su, Ichi, Ni, Roku, Nana, Hachi, Q. There are 6 of us here, more than there usually is, said Kurama. Yeah, I guess these Chunin exams that the humans hold at least serve some benefit in bringing us together again, said Matatabi. This has happened before? Asked Naruto. As I said, this is a rare occasion, but it does happen. When there are a few of us around and we are all in the same state of mind, we can enter a certain level of the subconsciousness where we can talk with one another, explained Naruto. Some time passed which really consisted of the Bijou who were present catching up with one another and simply talking and catching up. Some insults were exchanged, particularly between Kurama and Shunkaku and also Seiken and most of the other Bijou. But the conversations remained at least somewhat civilized. Looks like our time is coming to an end, said Juki as he and a lot of the other Bijou began to feel themselves fade out of the subconsciousness. Before they could leave, Naruto managed to say one last thing. Be careful. There is a group known as Akatsuki that's going to be coming after all of us in a few years, said Naruto. Why are they targeting us? Asked Gaara. I don't know. Uro-Sennin and I encountered 2 of them a few months back and all I know is that they were pretty powerful and they wanted the Bijou for some reason. But I don't really know why, explained Naruto. Naruto was just barely able to finish his warning before everyone faded from the subconsciousness. About a half hour before the exams were scheduled to end, everyone in the base made their way to the largest dojo in the base at the bottom floor. It looked somewhat similar to the same arena inside the tower in the Forest of Death, as it had a large floor and a few raised platforms. Looking around the room, there was a rather large number of teams with their respective senseis and village officials up front standing behind the rakeage. Teams 7, 8, and Guy from Konoha, Gaara and his siblings from Suna, Fu and her team from Taki, the Mist team, and 5 Kumo teams made up the current count, but with some time still left on the clocks, it was still possible another team could still make it in time. Speaking of which, a few minutes before the exam ended, Team 10 managed to drag themselves into the dojo, bruised and battered, but they were there. As of now, the second round of the Chunin exams is officially over, announced Daru, who had taken over as proctor for B, after B's attempted concert. Daru made his way over to the Raikage to discuss the next step. There are quite a few of them. What do you think? He asked. Grunted the Raikage. 5 of our teams, that's pretty good. But I see Konoha has 4. I was expecting 1, maybe 2, but not 4. There are too many. I see. Shall we do a preliminary round then? Asked Daru. Yes, we should be able to eliminate most of the competition for our Chunin hopefuls in the final round, said the Raikage. I understand, boss, said Daru before turning around to the rest of the field. I congratulate all 36 of you for passing the second round. It is at this time that I am sorry to inform you that you are not quite finished yet. What do you mean, not finished? Asked a Kumo ninja. Most of the ninja, especially those from Konoha and Suna, knew what was going to happen next, having already experienced something like this. I mean, 36 is an extremely high number to be advancing on to the next round. The third exam will be consisting of one-on-one matches where you will be fighting in front of crowds that include judges and lords. Because of this, the last thing we want to do is waste the lord's time with frivolous matches, and 18 matches would be quite a lot. A normal round of fighting consists of between 7 to 10 matches for us, so that means that one round of preliminary matches should be sufficient to reduce the numbers, explained Daru. Reduce the numbers? Questioned another of the Kumo ninja. We've worked hard to complete this exam and we've earned our spot in the third round. While that may be true, we make the rules here. As such, we have decided that there are simply too many of you to have an exciting third round, said Daru. Some took this as an insult that they were too boring or not worth the time, while others who were familiar with this just sighed at the rookie's antics. Now, for those of you who should manage to advance to the third round, you will have 2 chances to convince the judges that you have the skills worthy of a Chunin. The first round of matches will be held 4 weeks from now, while the second round of matches will occur 3 days after the first round. For those of you who are able to fight after the first round, you will have a second chance to impress the judges. It does not matter if you win or lose the first match, so long as you can fight. For those of you who make their way into the third round, your first matches will be announced after we have narrowed down the field. So how are we determining who we fight in these preliminary matches? Asked Neji, wanting to avoid any more complaining. These matches will be chosen by random, with the winner advancing and the loser not advancing. Now, before we begin, are there any other questions? Asked Daru. There were a few questions from some of the newer ninja to this scenario, basically about what would end a match and other basic stuff. If all the questions are over, those of you who do not wish to continue can forfeit now. I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to bow out, said a younger looking Kumo ninja who had a bandaged up leg and arm. Unfortunately, my arm and leg are in no condition to fight. Very well, probably a smart move, said Daru. He asked around for any other volunteers, but when no others raised their hands, he proceeded. Now, seeing as we have an odd number, you will draw slips to determine who gets the bye. B came around with a box that contained mostly blank slips and one with a red dot on it. The one who drew the red dot would be the one with the bye. Ninja after ninja, a blank sheet was drawn until it came to Lee. Rock Lee, Konoha Nan. You'll be given a bye, announced Daru. Lee began to shiver. No. I do not accept this. Please take this unyouthful piece of paper away from me, shouted Lee, shoving the paper back at B. Boss, what do we do? Asked Daru. I don't know, said the Raikage in disbelief. He had never seen anyone pass up a free ride to the finals before. I guess if he wants to risk his chance in a fight, let him. Very well, we will redo the drawing, announced Daru. Before walking away, B held out his fist to Lee, motioning for the green-clad Shinon to pound fists. I like your style, commented B before walking away. Lee looked up towards Guy, who responded with a thumbs up and a smile. After the second round of drawings, the bye fell on Amoe of Kumo, who accepted the bye. If you will turn your attention to the screen, we will then select the matches, announced Daru. As the screen flickered through names, thoughts were racing. Sasuke and Lee were hoping for their matches to be soon. Naruto was hoping any of his friends didn't get matched up against the Kirijin Shiriki. Sakura was hoping for a particular blonde, and Shino was rather indifferent. Match 1, Xiaomi vs Hyuga Hinata. Naruto let out a long-held breath. Hinata had avoided a fight with that Kirijin Shiriki, or any other Jinchuriki for that matter, and he wouldn't have to worry about her matchup for much longer. Everyone besides Hinata and the Kunoichi called Shiomi were ordered to move to the upper platforms to observe. Good luck, Naruto whispered into Hinata's ear before. Hinata shot Naruto a reassuring smile before facing her opponent. Shiomi was a kunoichi from Kumo who was maybe a few inches taller than Hinata and probably a few years older than her as well. As Daru signaled for the match to begin, Hinata assumed the standard Juken stance. Hinata made the first move, taking off at a rather high speed towards her opponent. As Hinata approached her opponent, Shiomi merely vanished, causing Hinata to stop her assault. "What's going on? Where'd she go?" asked Kiba. "Genjutsu," replied Kurenai. "Kakashi, Asuma, Guy, Sakura, Shino, Sasuke, Neji, Ino, Kuji, Shinji, and Tenten all in unison." Naruto would reply, but he was immune to the genjutsu thanks to the furball that lived in his head. "Yeah, I knew that. I was just making sure you all did," replied Kiba, trying to save face. Hinata felt a kunai press up against her neck as Shiomi came up from behind. "I suggest you surrender before I sever that cute little head of yours from the rest of your body." "Pathetic," said Shinji. "I can't believe she let someone sneak up behind her. She has the Byakugan after all." "You are in my field of divination," called out a voice from behind Shiomi. "What?" she said, quickly slashing the knife through her captive's neck, only for it to disappear in a puff of smoke. "Jmyukan, 8 trigrams, 64 palms," shouted Hinata as she went to work on her opponent. 64 rapid strikes later, Shiomi collapsed to the ground, unable to move as a good portion of her chakra system had been disabled. "Winner, Hyuga," Hinata announced Daru. "Where did she learn how to use shadow clones?" asked a surprised Kurenai. Everyone's attention drifted to an innocent-looking blonde with his hand behind his head. "Uro-senin kind of had me teach it to her a few months ago," replied Naruto. "Hey! Great job, Hinata." "Thank you," Naruto replied Hinata as she blushed slightly and pressed her fingers together. "I could have defeated her earlier, but I felt like working on my shadow clone diversions." Shinji spat at this as everyone looked up at the board for the next match. Match 2, Yakuro of Kumagawa vs Takaru of Takigakure. The leader of the group of Kumo ninja who scammed a scroll of Team 7 and tried to kill them took the arena as Takaru, one of Fu's teammates, did the same. As Daru signaled the beginning of the fight, it became obvious that Yakuro had the clear advantage of being both faster and more skilled. Unfortunately, this was normally the case when pitting a major village versus a minor village. The battle was over in a few minutes. Sasuke had been watching the battle with his Sharingan. In fact, he was going to watch every battle with his Sharingan with hopes of picking up something useful. Anyways, while it was clear that Yakuro was a lightning user, like a good majority of Kumo ninja, there wasn't much Sasuke was able to get out of that match. Yakuro had managed to defeat Takaru using mostly taijutsu and kenjutsu, with a small C-rank lightning jutsu to shock Takaru when he used a water jutsu. Sasuke took a look up towards the board and smirked. Match 3, Uchiha Sasuke of Konoha vs Hami of Kumagakure. "Perfect," thought Sasuke. If there was anyone's ass he wanted to kick right now, it was one of those 3 Kumo ninja they ran into during the survival exercise. "Well, if it isn't one of the pathetic weaklings from the mountain, I guess I really was meant to kick your ass," said the Kumo Kunoichi as she unsheathed her own sword. "Too bad, you're actually kind of handsome." This caused an uproar with both Sakura and Ino, although Sakura was able to keep herself under control, except for the "kick her ass, Sasuke," Sakura shouted. Sasuke looked at his opponent, staring at her with his red eyes. Hami was the first to make a move, running at Sasuke. She took a few swings at Sasuke with her sword, who easily dodged them, being able to see where her attacks would land with his Sharingan. "Cloud style, crescent moon slash," called out Hami as she swung her sword in a crescent moon-shaped arc at Sasuke. Much to her dismay, Sasuke dodged the strike without much effort. "Is that really the best you have?" mocked Sasuke. He looked at her eyes. They were angry and he was correct. Sasuke sighed. "Such a disappointment. And here I was hoping to get something useful out of this fight. Oh well, at the very least I can give this a try." Katen, flame step. As Sasuke completed his jutsu, flames swirled around his legs about halfway up his thighs. Sasuke ran towards Hami at a surprising speed, leaving a trail of fire in his wake. She swung with her sword again, hoping to intercept Sasuke, but once again he simply ducked underneath it. Before she could react to his next move, Sasuke was right beneath her as he sent a fireless kick up into her gut, sending her into the air with an explosion of fire. From there, he went into the motions for the lion's barrage, with each kick emanating a blast of flames that caused Hami to cringe at the burning sensation. As Hami landed hard on her back, Sasuke let out one more roar. Flaming lion's barrage, he shouted, slamming his foot into Hami's stomach, resulting in the largest eruption of flames. A few medics came onto the field to check Hami's condition. She was alive, but a few broken bones and some severe burns would earn her a lot of time in the hospital. Daru sighed. Winner, Uchiha Sasuke. The Raikage clenched his fist and a few people could feel the tension in the room already. These preliminaries were meant to eliminate the excessive amounts of Konoha shinobi, not his own shinobi. Already Kumo was 1-2 and Konoha was 2-0. We should have just put them out of their misery in the second exam, said Sasuke, walking back up towards the balcony. Sadly, you're right. That looked too easy, said Naruto. Oh well, that just means that they really weren't ready. I mean, after all, they had to attack us when we were carrying injured comrades. How low can you get, replied Sasuke. Okay. Me next, shouted Naruto. Come on, damn. Match 4, Batetsu of Kuma vs Gaara of Suna. Oh well, at least we get to watch Gaara, thought Naruto. This should be quick, commented Kankuro. Indeed it was. It only took a minute or so before Gaara had Batetsu wrapped up in a sand cocoon with a large lance of sand pressed up against his face. Not wanting to spill any more blood in this tournament, Gaara was giving the Kumo-jinan a chance to forfeit. About 6 months earlier, Kankuro and Tamari would have taken their brother to a psychiatric clinic for mental evaluations after he spared someone. Daru sighed as he could feel just a little more pressure be added to the room by the Raikage. We had better begin winning matches soon or boss is going to lose it, Daru thought. Yosh. If I am not next, then I will do 500 push-ups, and if I am not next after that, I will run 300 times up and down the mountain on one hand, shouted Lee. Ridiculous, replied Neji as Tenten's head dropped at her teammate's antics. Match 5, Aburame Shino of Konoha vs Kankuro of Suna. It appears as if we are next, said Shino, turning to Kankuro. 1, 2, 3. Counted Lee as he dropped to the ground and began doing push-ups, earning a look from most of the people on the balcony. Shino and Kankuro made their way to the floor. As the match began, Shino and Kankuro both just stood there, hands in their pockets and not really doing much. Oh, get on with it already, shouted Tamari from the balcony after about a 5-minute starring contest. Troublesome woman, commented Shikamaru, who had also taken a spot on the balcony next to his team. What did you say, Pineapple Head? Responded Tamari. Shikamaru just sighed. Yep, troublesome indeed. Back in the arena, Shino raised his arms as his swarm of insects came out as Kankuro made a few movements with his arms and his puppets emerged from the bottle. With a few motions of his fingers, Kankuro's puppet, Crow, darted towards Shino, driving its fist into the ground where Shino once stood. Shino just barely jumped out of the way to avoid the dagger that had popped out of Crow's hand. As Shino jumped back, Crow shot a few daggers out of its mouth at the bug user, which found their target in Shino's shoulder. There is poison on these daggers. My insects should be able to neutralize most of it, but I cannot let any more get to me, thought Shino. Crow came at Shino again, as the bug user put up a screen of bugs to obscure Kankuro's vision. As such, Kankuro switched from a stab with Crow, to a slash. The slash opened a temporary window in the barrier of insects. When Kankuro could see Shino, if even for just a second, he had Crow launch some more daggers towards Shino, who was forced to take another step back. Kankuro smirked as he made a flick with another finger, and from behind Shino, his second puppet, Red Ant, appeared with its central compartment open as it swallowed Shino. I strongly recommend forfeiting if you don't want to end up a stuck bug, said Kankuro. Tamari face-palmed herself from the balcony. Don't even get started on the puns already, shouted Tamari. Why? Am I bugging you? Joked Kankuro. Tamari clenched her fist and a tick mark appeared on her forehead. I would forfeit, but it does not appear as if you have captured me, said Shino as he emerged from the cloud of insects that was still hovering around Crow. Kankuro looked over in surprise to Red Ant to see numerous insects pouring out of the openings in the puppet as Red Ant collapsed to the ground after Shino's bug severed the chakra strings on it. A few seconds later, Crow met the same fate and Shino turned his swarm on Kankuro. I believe it is you who should forfeit now, shit, swore Kankuro. Shino had him. Fine, I give. Smart choice, said Shino as he recalled his swarm. Winner, Aburame Shino, announced Daru. At this time, Lee was finishing with his set of push-ups. Way to go, Shino, shouted Kiba and Naruto from the stands as the rest of the Konoha squad sent him either a congratulatory look. While this match didn't increase the Raikage's frustration, it certainly didn't help as Konoha now had 3 participants in the finals. Everyone looked anxiously at the board, waiting for the next pairing. Yosh. It is time for my youth to shine, shouted Lee. Match 6, Raija of Kirigakura vs Rock Lee of Konoha. Naruto began to sweat a little, but thankfully his worries were settled when he saw one of the Kiri Jinchuriki's teammates move towards the arena. The last thing he needed was for Lee to go from almost being killed by one Jinchuriki to almost being killed by another. Lee and his opponent entered the arena. Lee took his stance as Daru called for the start of the match. Immediately, Lee was off. Lee lashed out a strong kick at Raija's side. The Mist Ninja had just enough time to grab the pair of steel tonfas that he hit on his back to block Lee's kick. Still, Raija found himself forced back a few meters. "Damn kid, you've got some strength in that kick, I'll give you that. But you're going to need more than just that kick to beat me," said Raija. Ninja art, water tonfas. Raija's tonfas soon became encased in water, which added to their power and added a more potent point at the end of the weapons. Lee and Raija spent the next few minutes trading blows. Neither of them landed any serious blows, but they did manage a few glancing blows which had an increased impact on each other due to the nature of their attacks. For Lee, one thing was sure, this scary opponent wasn't like some of the other opponents in the previous matches. This guy actually had a decent skill at being a close-quarters fighter. "Please forgive me, Guy-sensei, but it is my best option for winning this," thought Lee, glancing up at his sensei. In the stands, Guy caught Lee's eye and instantly knew what his student was thinking. Guy nodded back to his student, a little reluctantly. A normal frontal lotus with only one gate, Lee could handle without much repercussions besides the normal fatigue, so long as he got some proper rest afterwards. So long as this guy wasn't like Gaara, the frontal lotus would be enough. Lee unraveled some of his bandages from his arms, causing a few eyebrows to be raised in the stands, and he mentally unlocked the first of the 8 celestial gates. With an increased boost of speed, Lee dashed towards his opponent, who thrust his weapons out in front of him, hoping to catch Lee. However, Lee disappeared from in front of Raija, only to knock him up into the air with a strong unsuspecting kick from below to the chin. Lee then shattered the floating Raija and his bandages encased the shocked Kirijinan. "Primary Lotus," shouted Lee as he barreled down towards the ground, slamming the encased Raija into the ground. When the dust cleared, Raija laid on the ground, unconscious and most likely with a rather large concussion. "Winner," Rock Lee announced Daru. "Yeah. Way to go, Lee," shouted a few of his friends from the balcony, mainly Tenten and Sakura. "Yes, Guy-sensei." "How was that?" shouted Lee. "Lee. I'm so proud," shouted Guy. "Guy-sensei." "Lee. Guy-sensei." Lee. Lee jumped up onto the balcony and embraced his sensei in a manly hug with the ocean sunset as the backdrop. A few of the non-Konoha ninja tried desperately to release this horrendous genjutsu that had been cast on them. "It's not going to work," said Naruto, turning to Yugito's team, who was standing near the Konoha group. "It's not to think of it, I don't think anyone's really sure what it is." "The best way to describe it is the flames of youth," said Tenten. After the shuddering ceased from the rest of the ninja present and Guy and Lee finished, everyone looked up at the board. "Ha! This is perfect, now Sasuke will see just how great I am. And once I win, Sasuke will practically beg me to be his girlfriend." "No, wife," squealed Ino. Naruto and Sasuke looked over at Sakura, who was gripping the railing tightly. "Sakura, are you okay?" asked Naruto. "Yeah, I'll be fine. I need to do this, for Ino's sake," said Sakura as she removed her hand from the railing. The railing was crushed where Sakura's hand had been. "It's about time she begins to blossom, and for the most beautiful flowers to blossom, they have to endure the harshest of winters. I was hoping for this to come, but I never imagined it would happen again." "Perhaps it was fate," commented Neji. "We're not starting with the fate crap again, are we, Neji?" shouted Naruto. Neji merely chuckled. "Hey billboard brow, get your sorry ass down here so I can kick it," shouted Ino. "Go do what you need to do," Sakura said Sasuke. Sakura nodded. "Just don't overdo it." "Oh, I plan to," replied Sakura. Match 7, Haruno Sakura of Konoha vs Yamanaka Ino of Konoha. "Hey billboard brow, get your sorry ass down here," shouted Ino from the arena. Sakura let go of the rail, revealing a much dented rail where her hand was. "Here Naruto, hold on to these," said Sakura, passing Naruto her pouch where she stored her extra senbon. "I don't keep the pink ones in my gloves and the last thing I want to do is use those on Ino." She then proceeded to make her way down to the arena to meet Ino. "Troublesome," said Shikamaru. "Is that all you say?" shouted Tamari towards the lazy Chunin. "Troublesome woman," responded Shikamaru with a bored expression on his face. At this point, Tamari was about ready to slam her fan into the Nara's face. The only thing holding her back would probably be Gaara's sand. "Dobi, if you play around with those, you're going to prick yourself," said Sasuke to Naruto, who was looking through Sakura's bag of senbon. "Ouch," shouted Naruto as he shook his hand from pricking himself with one of Sakura's sleeping senbon. "Told you," replied Sasuke. "Shut up Tem, yawn, I feel sleepy," yawned Naruto before collapsing to the ground. Everyone's sweat dropped. If Naruto missed his match because of this, There was no way Sasuke would ever let him live it down. "Troublesome," replied Shikamaru, observing the whole thing. "That's it. Get over here, pineapple head," shouted Tamari as Shikamaru began running. Once Sakura arrived down in the arena, Daru signaled the start of the fight. Well, little Sakura. Here I'll show Sasuke who truly is the better." "Ouch," shouted Ino as she felt something sharp drive into her shoulder. "Shut up and fight," growled Sakura. "Grr, fine," shouted Ino as she charged at Sakura. Sakura easily dodged Ino's punch and threw her against the opposite wall. "This world is no place for silly girls living in a fantasy world, Ino. I nearly died learning that fact, and so are you," said Sakura. "What are you talking about, billboard brow?" responded Ino. "That senbone in your shoulder is coated with a poison, will take full effect in about 5 minutes," said Sakura, pointing to the black senbone in Ino's shoulder. "If you can't beat me by then, it'll be all over. As a matter of fact, I could have killed you just a moment ago while you were boasting about how you're going to kick my ass for Sasuke." "You're joking, billboard brow. There's no way you have what it takes to beat me," said Ino, swinging another punch at Sakura, only for the pink cat to easily block. "I'm not, and in fact you should have been dead days ago when you ran into that monster," shouted Sakura, pointing up towards the Kiryu Jinchuriki who just managed to grin behind his mask. "But you're not, because I was the one who saved you." "That was all a genjutsu. It was Sasuke who saved us, not you," shouted Ino as she swung another punch at Sakura. Again, Sakura dodged with ease. Up in the stands, "Sakura's not really trying to kill Ino, is she?" asked a concerned Kurenai. Kakashi whispered something into her ear and she got it. Down in the arena, Sakura dodged another punch from Ino, retaliating with one of her own this time. Sakura's punch caught Ino in the stomach and sent her sliding back against the floor, clutching her stomach in pain. "You're going to need to do much better if you want to beat me, let alone survive," Ino growled, but her eyes suddenly shot open as she began losing feeling in her arms. My arm, looks like it's starting to take effect. The poison will start with your arms and legs and work its way towards the more vital organs in your body. If I'm correct, you've got about 3 minutes left, and I doubt you have anything that can save you. Oh, and if you're even thinking of using your mind switch jutsu on me, I think we learned last time that doesn't work," explained Sakura. "However, my techniques should work just fine." Ninpo, Hell Viewing Technique. Ino watched as a swirl of cherry blossoms enveloped her and she found herself in some sort of forest setting. Her initial thought was genjutsu, but she soon saw Sasuke, lying face down on the ground with a few arrows sticking out of his back and the Sound Force smiling at their kill. Sasuke?" Ino, Sasuke said weakly. Sasuke. "Don't worry, I'm here for you," cried Ino as she made her way towards Sasuke. "Aw, did the poor little baby lose something?" asked Kidomaru. "I say we just put the whore out of her misery," commented Tuya. Kidomaru drew back his bow and aimed it at Ino, loosing the arrow straight into Ino's chest. Ino winced in pain as she collapsed next to the ground, next to Sasuke. "Ino," said Sasuke weakly. With what little life she had left in her, Ino turned her attention to Sasuke. "I always knew you'd be the death of me. You're weak, too weak for me, too weak for anyone." As Ino passed into darkness, she awoke back in the arena with a piercing cry. "Sasuke!" Ino then collapsed to the ground, no longer able to move her legs or arms. Sakura's tone changed from harsh to sincere. "Ino, I know exactly what you saw, because I actually lived that. I stood by, completely helpless as I watched Sasuke, my friend and comrade, die right in front of me. I watched him die as I slowly felt myself die as well. I was lucky, by some miracle, we both made it out of that alive, but I will never forget how useless I felt there. Afterwards, I began to push myself to become the best ninja I could become, so that I would never be just a burden again." Sakura, am I really going to die?" asked Ino, completely broken. Sakura smiled. "No. That was just a paralytic poison that should wear off in about 15 minutes. But I was serious, I could have killed you if I had wanted." But why did you do something like this? I thought we were friends?" asked Ino. "I did it because we are friends, Ino. I want my Ino back, the girl that used to be my best friend. The one who would laugh with me and the one who didn't make fun of my forehead. Not the one that I would always fight with over some silly crush," said Sakura. "I really am sorry that I had to put you through this, but this was the only way I thought I could get the real you back. The Ino I would have fun with and the one I know that can become a killer kunoichi someday. And the Ino who make all the boys in Konoha worship for someday, not the stuck-up fangirl." Ino was crying uncontrollably at this point. "Sakura, I'm sorry, I've been a terrible friend, can you ever forgive me?" asked Ino. Sakura smiled. "Sure I can. I'm your friend and that's what we do, help each other through tough times like this. Sakura picked up a limpino and began to walk up the stairs. "Hey, you know the match is still going on," shouted Daru. "No it's not. I forfeit, Bilb. I mean Sakura had this one from the very beginning," said Ino. "Very well. Winner, Haruno Sakura," announced Daru. "That was a very cruel thing for you to do," Pinky said Anko as Sakura arrived at the top of the balcony. She was giving one of those looks that only Anko could do, you know, the one that you make you shit your pants and wish for a quick death. Sakura began freaking out a little before Anko wrapped her up in a big hug. "Oh, I have never been so proud of anyone. You've got potential, Pinky. If you're ever interested in tapping into that potential, come to me." Anko had just found a new best friend apparently. Sakura just stood there, stupefied. Was she just congratulated, by Anko of all people? "Yawn, what did I miss?" asked Naruto, waking up from his drug-induced sleep. This earned him that same look that Anko had just given Sakura, only from Sakura. "Baka. You were asleep this entire time?" shouted Sakura, giving Naruto a good-sized lump on his head. "Sakura, can I ask you one more thing?" asked Ino. "Did you really save me and my team from that Kure ninja?" "Well, my entire team did, but I was the one who treated you. If not for that treatment, you probably would have died," said Sakura. "I see. I believe you and I'm really sorry for doubting you," said Ino. Suddenly, Ino found herself in a hug by Sakura. "It's okay, I'm just glad my best friend's back." A few people awed, while the rest turned their attention to the scoreboard. Match 8, Fu of Taki vs Kazuno of Kumo. This match took a little longer than some of the other matches, but the outcome was something that made one particular Leaf Shinon happy, even if he didn't show it. Fu had won, earning her a spot in the finals and giving her a chance to do what a fellow Jinchuriki of hers suggested to do, prove to everyone who she really was. Like most of the other Kumo ninja present, this one had some skill with a sword and preferred to use it as a primary offensive. Fu spent a decent amount of the fight dodging, in which she proved to be rather light on her feet. It was when she was finally able to get an attack off, Ninpo, blinding scales technique, which temporarily blinded her opponent, that she was able to make a few decisive moves to end the match. "Okay, come on. I want to go," shouted Naruto. Sakura and Sasuke sighed. Naruto was getting almost as impatient as the Raikage, who was really starting to blow a fuse now. Kumo was 1-4 while Konoha was 5-1, with her only loss being in a match between Konoha ninja. Damn it. Match 9, Inuzuka Kiba of Konoha vs Yugito Ni of Kumo. "Hopefully this will help the dull situation," thought Daru. "If anyone from Kumo can win, it's Yugito." "Alright, let's go Akamaru," shouted Kiba. Arf. Kiba and his buddy made their way down to the arena with Yugito following closely behind. "Now, if I remember correctly, she's some sort of crazy cat hag. We've got this in the bag," said Kiba. "I'm sorry to say this, but Kiba's going to get his ass kicked," replied Naruto. Kiba's comment instantly caught Yugito's attention and her eyes turned yellow with slit pupils, like that of a cat's. "So you honestly think you can beat me, you moot?" asked Yugito. "I'd like to see you and that little rat of yours try." "Akamaru's no rat. Man-beast clone," shouted Kiba as Akamaru turned into a feral version of Kiba and Kiba became more beastly himself. "Let's go, boy. Gotsuga." Kiba and Akamaru barreled towards Yugito, who instinctively twisted around their attacks with a level flexibility that would make even Hinata look as stiff as a board. As Kiba and Akamaru made another pass at her, Yugito took a deep breath. "Katen, mouse hairball," shouted Yugito as she exhaled a fireball that quickly took the shape of a mouse. The fireball then began to divide into many other smaller mouse-shaped fireballs. The smaller fireballs then proceeded to lock onto one of the Kibas, who turned out to be Akamaru. After the subsequent explosion sent the puppy skidding across the room, injured enough that he was out of the fight. "Akamaru," shouted Kiba. "GRR, you'll pay for that." Kiba rushed towards Yugito, ready to swipe at her with his canine-like claws. As he charged, Yugito's own claws rapidly grew. As Kiba dove towards Yugito, she simply leaned back as Kiba's attack flew over her. As Kiba was over her, she slashed with her own claws across the dog user's chest. Kiba tumbled to the ground in obvious pain. The next thing Kiba felt as he slowly uncurled himself were Yugito's claws at his throat. "What's the matter, cat, got your tongue, dog boy?" asked Yugito as Kiba could only help but growl at his defeat. "Winner, Yugito Ni of Kumo," announced Daru. Instantly, he could feel some of the Raikage's pressure backing off. Kiba and Akamaru were taken off to the infirmary. Their wounds weren't critical, but they would require some treatment. "Come on. Let me go already," shouted Naruto. "Just hush, you'll get your turn already," said Sakura. "But I can't help it, Sasuke won his match, Hinata won hers, and wait, how did you do again?" "I was sleeping," asked Naruto, only to receive a fist bop on the top of his head. "I happen to win mine as well, thank you very much," said Sakura, crossing her arms as Hinata was busy rubbing the lump on Naruto's head. Match 10, Umo of Kuma vs Rigito of Taki. "Damn it. I wanted to go," shouted Naruto. "Oh, don't get your tails in a bundle," said Yugito as she walked past them. "Winner, Umo of Kuma," announced Uru. "Wow, that was fast," said Naruto. "I expected Umo to end it quickly. He's like that and he's one of the best shinobi we've got in these exams. Besides, it's good that he won." "Rikage-sama's been getting pretty close to exploding," said Yugito. "Hey Sasuke, how did he win so fast?" asked Naruto. "You should watch the match next time. It seems like he's primarily a taijutsu user, but he knows where to hit an opponent," said Sasuke. "You mean like the Hyugas?" asked Naruto. Sasuke shook his head. "No, I'm talking that it seems like he knows the general weak spots on the body and can take advantage of them. An initial hit to the solar plexus created a lot of openings for him. After that, it was pretty much over." Naruto nodded and then looked over at where the Taki ninja were. Their Jonin sensei did not look happy at all. He was most likely mad due to the fact that Fu got into the finals while the other two didn't. After all, it's preposterous that a demon brat get into the finals of the Chunin exams, right? Match 11, Hyuga Shinji of Konoha vs Akamiki Kuji of Konoha. "Good, about time I get this little play over with," scoffed Shinji as he made his way down to the arena. Kuji was reluctantly following. Kuji wanted to give it first, not believing he should be here after his little encounter in the second exam, but Asuma bribed him with food, as usual. While Asuma had nothing against Kuji, he was just trying to get the young Akamiki heir to understand aspects of being a ninja. "Bring it, fatty, I'm getting tired of just waiting." "What did you just say?" shouted an enraged Kuji. No one uses that word around him. "Partial multi-size technique," shouted Kuji as his arms grew to a rather large size. Kuji clapped his hands together, hoping to grab Shinji, who simply ducked underneath his attack and sent a few strikes at Kuji's arm, cutting off the chakra flow in them and shrinking the arms back to normal size. Kuji stared in shock at his hands, unable to increase them in size. "Human bullet tank," the Akamiki said, getting over his initial shock. Kuji swelled in size until he was as large as a huge boulder. Shinji just stood his ground as Kuji began rolling towards him at high speed. "Kaiden!" shouted Shinji as Kuji's attack collided with the Hyuga's absolute defense. Unfortunately for Kuji, he was thrown back against the wall from the force of the Kaiden. "How does Shinji know that?" asked Naruto. "He is a main family Hyuga," stated Neji. "I know that. But Hinata is way better than him and she doesn't even know that," said Naruto. "It's not that Hinata-sama doesn't know it, it's more like she can't use it. It's similar to Lee not being able to use ninjutsu," said Neji, earning a confused look from Naruto. "Juken techniques, especially the Kaiden, are earth-based techniques, while Hinata-sama has wind-based chakra. Wind and earth are two elements that clash with one another and as such will make her learning the Kaiden extremely difficult. However, she has her own defense to make up for it, one that suits her so much better, making the Kaiden not worthwhile for her to learn." "I think I see now," said Naruto. "Jmyuken, 8 trigrams 32 palms," shouted Shinji as he quickly made a move on Kuji. "Kuji!" shouted the more vocal members of the Konoha 12, although, even Shikamaru joined in. "Pathetic weakling. I'm amazed I was able to put up with you for the past week. All you did was talk about food, instead of the test. No wonder we just barely made it," said Shinji. Kuji began coughing up blood as medics came to check on his condition. "Winner, Hyuga Shinji," announced Uru. "Oh yeah, he'd better hope we don't meet in the finals, cause I'm gonna kick his ass," said Naruto. "You have to make it to the finals first," Dobi responded. Sasuke. "Neji, is all of the Hyuga main branch that brutal?" asked Ino. "Sadly, yes. Hinata-sama's the only one who's always been kind and gentle, and as a result has been hated by the main branch for years because of her weakness, as they call it. Uncle, while he has changed, I'd be lying if I said he was never like that," said Neji. Naruto flashed Hinata his signature grin, cheering the girl up a little. "Well, speaking of Hyuga," said Naruto, pointing up at the board. Match 12, Hyuga Neji of Konoha vs Kuro of Kuma. Well, perhaps fate has smiled upon me today," said Neji, slipping into faded stuck-up prick mode, and a tick mark appeared on Naruto's head. "You had better not start before fate dictates me slamming a Rasengan up your ass," said Naruto. This caused Neji to chuckle slightly. To him, this was now more of a joke and something he'd use to irritate Naruto every now and then. Naruto was aware it was a bit of a joke as well, but he couldn't help himself. "Oh hell no. I forfeit," shouted Kuro from the other side of the room, remembering the beating and heart attack Neji gave her last Chunin exam. Boss?" questioned Daru. The Rikage was silent. His temper wasn't really increasing, he was just confused, completely and utterly confused at Kuro's sudden withdrawal. Of all people here, the short-tempered redhead was the last one he expected to do what she had just done. Very well. Winner, Hyuga Neji of Konoha, announced Daru. That certainly was dull. Hey guys, what happened? Asked Kiba, slowly making his way back from the infirmary. Let's see. I'm going to kick Shinji's ass, and Neji probably set the record for the shortest match in history, said Naruto. Was Shinji the one who Kuji faced? Asked Kiba. A few people nodded. Damn. That would explain why he looked pretty beat up. Now I want to kick his ass as well. Humph. I'd like to see you try, Mutt replied Shinji, only irritating Kiba to the point where Kurama and Asuma were struggling to hold him back. Trouble. Shikamaru was interrupted. Finish that word and you'll be eating my fist, growled Tamari. Troublesome, joked Kankuro, only to earn him a hard smack from Tamari's fan. Match 13, Tenten of Konoha vs Goyaku of Kirishite. Swore Naruto loudly, waking his inhabitant. What is it now? I was talking a nap. Growled a grumpy Kyuubi. It's him, said Naruto. He looked over and saw the Kiri Jinchuriki, apparently his name was Goyaku, make his was towards the arena. Goyaku was shooting a look towards Naruto that basically said, watch as I kill your friend. Tenten, shouted Naruto, grabbing the weapons expert before she could get down to the arena. What is it, Naruto? I've got a match, said Tenten. No. You've got to forfeit. You're no match against him. He'll kill you, warned Naruto. Your concern is touching, but I can handle myself, replied Tenten. But, said Naruto as he was hushed by Tenten. Why did you do that, Naruto? Asked Lee. That wasn't very youthful. Naruto grinned and gripped the railing as the match began. What do I do? If Tenten continues, she'll get herself killed no matter what. A tricky situation. I'm afraid you may be forced to give up something here. Just do what comes naturally and everything will work out. In the arena, Tenten made the first move, throwing about a dozen kunai towards her opponent. Goyaku didn't even blink as the kunai disintegrated when they got within 5 or 6 feet of him. What? Said Tenten in shock. She got over her initial shock and pulled out the 2 scrolls at her side, placing them in front of her. Fine. Twin Rising Dragon. The scrolls unfurled and spiraled upwards as Tenten jumped up into them and began hurling weapon after weapon at Goyaku. Damn it, swore Naruto from the balcony. Tenten's attack didn't manage a single hit as all her weapons disintegrated from the acid surrounding him before they. Bah. You're not even worth killing. However, I'll be nice and kill you just to piss off Blondie up there, said Goyaku. Ninpo, breath of death. Goyaku exhaled a dense acidic cloud that quickly enveloped Tenten. She began to cough violently as the acid went to work on her lungs and also her skin. Somehow, Tenten managed to crawl out of the cloud before too much damage was done. Naruto was right, said Tenten, breathing heavily as she coughed up a bit of blood. I forfeit. Daru nodded. Winner, Goyaku. PHFT. Too bad that's not going to help, said Goyaku. He formed what appeared to be a ball of condensed acid in between his hand. Stop. This match it over, ordered Daru. Goyaku wasn't listening. Tenten, shouted a worried teen guy. Ninpo, acid sphere, shouted Goyaku as he shot the condensed ball of acid towards Tenten. The entire room couldn't breathe as what seemed to be Tenten's inevitable death approached. A cry of pain rang out through the dojo as the ball of acid hit something. Tenten opened her eyes to see Naruto standing over her, some weird red chakra cloak over him. Are you alright? Asked Naruto. Despite having a chakra cloak on him, that acid was concentrated enough to penetrate the cloak and eat away at the clothes, including the famed orange jacket, and some of the flesh on his back. With the presence of Kurama's chakra, his back instantly began healing, but that didn't do anything to stop the shocked looks on a lot of people's faces from around the room. Kurenai-sensei? What's going on? Asked a stunned Kiba. When Kurenai wasn't giving him answers, he turned to the others. That's something for Naruto to tell you and Naruto alone, said Kakashi. So Konoha does in fact have a Jinchuriki, thought the Raikage. And based on his features, I'd say Kyuubi, damn it. The Raikage just watched the scene unfold for the moment. In truth, Konoha having the Kyuubi wasn't much of a secret. It had never been confirmed, but the Raikage had suspected that a Jinchuriki was made when the Yondaime Hokage defeated the Kyuubi, 12 years ago. Truth be told, he wanted to act. He wanted to take Naruto as a prize for Kumo, but the international treaties that surrounded these exams pretty much made Naruto immune to any attempts Kumo would make towards obtaining another Jinchuriki. Unless of course Kumo wanted a real war on its hands. It's the same reason why they hadn't attempted to capture the 2 unsealed Byakugans yet. And Naruto, what's up with your chakra? asked Tenten weakly. "I'll explain later," said Naruto as his body finished repairing itself. "I'm sorry, but I had to give you a cloak, otherwise the regeneration wouldn't have been able to counter the acid in that attack," responded Kurama. "I did mention you would be giving up something today, either one of your friends or one of your secrets." "Hey, you know me. My friends come first," replied Naruto. Naruto looked over at the fellow Jinchuriki, only to receive a look of pure anger. Once again, Naruto had denied him a kill. "That's it, I'm killing something today, you rotten little," shouted Goyaku. He even let his demonic chakra flare. Before he could take another step towards Naruto and Tenten, a large octopus tentacle wrapped around him. The source of the tentacle shocked almost every non-Kumo ninja, except for the other Jinchuriki present. "Yo, calm down before I pound you into the ground," Bakayaro Kanoiro said. B released Goyaku once he could feel the Rakubi's chakra calm down. As Naruto saw this, he lowered his cloak as well. A few of the Konoha Jonin came down to check up on Tenten. She wasn't as bad as Team 10 was after their encounter, but she still needed treatment. Before the Kuma medics could come out, Sakura had said that she would handle the treatment and Tenten was taken back to the balcony so Sakura could begin to treat her. "The next time we meet, brat, I will kill you and then I'll kill your little annoyances of friends," threatened Goyaku. "That's not going to happen. No way you'll ever lay a finger on them." "That's a promise, Tbio," replied Naruto. Naruto made his way back up to the balcony as the next fight was announced. Match 14, Yakimaru of Kuma vs Tazakagi of Kuma. When Naruto reached the top of the stairs, the remains of his coat and shirt finally fell off, revealing the seal on his stomach to everyone, and causing Hinata to blush a bit at the sight. "So Naruto, what exactly was that?" asked Kiba. Naruto sighed. He knew after acting like that, there would be questions and he would need to give answers. He told them about what really happened on the night of the Kyuubi attack and how the fox was sealed inside him by the Yondaime. Naruto then told them about Jinchurikis and how there were other Jinchurikis in the room, including Goyaku and B. "What you just saw back there, was me using the Kyuubi's chakra. It was the only way I, or anyone, could have survived that ball of acid," said Naruto. He looked around at the group around him and saw fewer surprised looks than he had expected. "How many of you knew?" asked Kakashi, wanting to know that after seeing their reactions. Sasuke, Sakura, Hinata, Shino, Neji, Shikamaru, Tamari, and Gaara all raised their hand. "Back in the academy, I knew something was different about you, Naruto. I finally figured it out about a year before graduation," said Shikamaru. "And you didn't care?" asked a hopeful Naruto. "While you were a little wild, you never hurt anyone and honestly, it would have just been too troublesome to really care," said Shikamaru, earning a look from Tamari. "Shino?" asked Naruto. "They told me some time ago," said Shino, holding up a finger with a few insects on it. "Does it bother me?" "No." "Why?" "Because you are my comrade and have given me no reason to look down upon you." Naruto then turned his attention to the people who just learned his secret. "Naruto, as far as I'm concerned, you are still as honorable as you have always been. You saved Tenten, so that can only go to show that you are in fact a good guy," said Lee. "If it wasn't for you, I'd be dead right now, so thank you, Naruto," said Tenten. "Kuuji and I are the same. If you hadn't saved us back in the second exam, we'd be dead," said Ino, with Kuuji managing a slight nod. Kuuji was still trying to recover from his battle but found himself unable to move most of his body still. "I find it hard to believe, but you've never been bad," replied Kiba. "It's a shock that you have a demon sealed inside you, but it sounds like you've only used it for good purposes. I don't have any problems, but I suppose that explains everything. Actually, it's not like he is the Kyuubi, so why did the entire village treat you like it?" The village's hatred for the Kyuubi overtook any form of logic and reasoning in the civilian population, and they saw Naruto simply as what they feared, explained Kakashi. Plus it didn't help that they didn't understand the basic concepts behind sealing. Most of the shinobi population understood, but I'm sad to say that didn't help anything, and as Naruto proved himself as a shinobi, it's something the shinobi of our village are coming to regret more and more. "Damn. I'm sorry, Naruto, I never knew," replied Kiba. "It's okay. You're not to blame," said Naruto. "Demon trash." Everyone's attention turned towards the one who had uttered those two words, and a certain Hyuga found himself bombarded with 17 different blasts of ki, coming from Sasuke, Sakura, Hinata, Kiba, Shino, Ino, Kuuji, Shikamaru, Neji, Tenten, Lee, Guy, Kakashi, Asuma, Kurenai, and Tamari. But the strongest of the blasts came from one individual in particular, Gaara. "If you think he's a demon, then allow me to show you what a real demon is," said Gaara, letting some of his sand creep towards Shinji. He wasn't going to let anyone torment his very first friend. "Gaara, just stop, please." He's not worth it so long as I have all of your support, said Naruto. Gaara regained control of himself and retreated his sand as he just turned away from Shinji. Now, there is something I need you guys to understand as well, and it's only fair that you know. What exactly happened the night of the Kyuubi attack wasn't what you all really think. The Kyuubi really isn't evil, he just wanted to be left alone in peace, but was forced to attack the village by some masked man calling himself Uchiha Madara, said Naruto. A few gasps were heard throughout the crowd that had gathered around him, and Kakashi and the rest of Team 7 helped to convince everyone that what Naruto was saying is in fact true and that perhaps the Kyuubi himself was a big misunderstanding. In short, no one's opinions changed with that revelation. The current match finished up with the winner being Yakimaru from Kumo. Match 15, Tamari of Kiri vs Hikari of Kumo. Damn it. I wanna go, shouted Naruto. Why don't you go put a shirt on first, replied Kankuro, only to earn a few glares from the female populace, especially Hinata. Despite being only 12, Naruto did have a rather well-toned body and the beginnings of six-pack abs. To be honest, the Konoha girls, minus Tenten who was still being treated, found themselves resisting the urge to glomp Naruto all of a sudden. Hinata on the other hand, well, she was trying to hide the small trickle of blood coming from her nose after imagining Naruto a few years from now. Naruto reached around for his jacket, picking it up and finally seeing the completely burned away backside of it. Unfortunately, this only made Naruto sad as that was his favorite jacket and the one Hinata had given him a few years ago as a surprise birthday present. Well, look at it this way, Naruto. Perhaps it is time for a small wardrobe change, said Kakashi, placing his hand on Naruto's shoulder. Yeah, no more kill me now, Orange, joked Kiba. What is it with everyone hating Orange? Questioned Naruto, making everyone laugh. Winner, Hikari of Kumo, announced Haru. Wow, that was quick. Okay, only 2 matches, come on. Yes, shouted Naruto. Match 16, Uzumaki Naruto of Konoha vs Shamaru of Kumo. Hey Naruto, look who it is. Now don't hurt him too bad, after all, we are weak and pathetic, right? Sasuke said with a slight hint of sarcasm in his voice. Naruto simply grinned at his rival and brother. Hey, I'll see you in the finals, said Naruto. Before he could go down, Kakashi stopped him for just a second. Don't use the Rasengan or your knives. Kumo already knows you're a Jinchuriki now, the last thing we need is for them to connect those two things to you know who. Naruto nodded at Kakashi. As Daru announced for the battle to begin, Naruto could already see Shamaru shaking a bit. The revelation of Naruto being a Jinchuriki must have shaken him a little. Hee, this could be fun, said Kurama. I want to test something, just listen to what I say. Naruto closed his eyes and realized his breathing slightly. Naruto slowly opened his eyes, revealing the red slitted-eyed. As Shamaru was about to make a move, he instantly froze and went wide-eyed as he was hit with a massive wave of ki. Shamaru dropped to his knees, shivering and unable to move as Naruto just walked towards him and held a kunai at his neck. Well, that was rather dull. Winner, Uzumaki Naruto, announced Daru. Up in the stands, Kakashi just chuckled. Wait, what did Naruto do? Asked Ino. Killing intent. And that was only a fraction of what Kakashi would have us train with, said Sasuke. Kakashi would usually use Naruto to train his team with dealing with ki, and he was proud to say that his team could handle most of the Kyuubi's full ki by this point. Man, that was no fun, complained Naruto as he walked back to the balcony. That's the last time I take Furball's advice on starting a fight. Well, if you can't handle the slightest amount of ki, then you don't deserve to be in this exam, said Kakashi. Match 17, Tamari of Suna vs Sumire of Kumo. About time. I can't believe I was the last match, again, said Tamari. Tamari faced her opponent, a Kunoichi from Kumo, and Daru signaled the beginning of the match. Raiten, electromagnetic murder, shouted Sumire as streams of electricity shot out of her hands and towards Tamari. Tamari just grinned and pulled her fan from her back, opening it to the third moon. With a single swipe of her fan, a huge gust of wind is created, cancelling the lightning jutsu and knocking Sumire back against the wall of the arena with enough force to knock her out. Winner, Tamari of Suna, announced Daru. With the matches concluded, everyone who had made it onward lined up in the middle of the room. Overall, the Raikage was not pleased with the outcome of the preliminaries. Only 6 Kumo ninja out of 15 managed to make it to the finals. Suna had 2, Kiri had 1, Taki had 1, and Konoha had 8. This was supposed to be an opportunity to reduce the number of Konoha ninja in the finals, not make them the largest group. Still, for the sake of the announcement of the third round, he did rather well holding himself together. After all was said and done, the Chunin hopefuls now consisted of Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura, Hinata, Shino, Shinji, Neji, Lee, Gaara, Tamari, Fu, Goyaku, Yugito, Yakuro, Umo, Yakimaru, Hikari, and Amoe. 18 participants meant 9 matches for the first day of fights, and whoever would be capable of fighting after a 3-day resting period would fight in the second round of matches. Now, if each of you will turn your attention to the screen, it will begin listing the pairings for the first round of fights, announced Daru as everyone's attention turned to the screen on the back wall. Match 1 will be Yugito Ni vs Fu. Yugito and Fu both looked at each other. They both knew they were going up against fellow Jinchuriki, so that could make for an interesting fight. Match 2 will be Uzumaki Naruto vs Goyaku, announced Daru. Everyone could feel the tension in the room rise between these two. Looks like you've got a few weeks to live, brat. You'd better be there for your own execution, and don't you dare back out or I'll come and hunt you down, said Goyaku. Good, that way I can take you out so you won't hurt any of my friends, replied Naruto. Match 3 will be Rock Lee vs Tamari, announced Daru. This would be an interesting match for both of them. Tamari knew that if Lee got within close combat, he would easily have the upper hand. And he had the speed to do so as well. If she could keep him at range though, she would be able to win. Match 4 will be Hikari vs Haruno Sakura, announced Daru. Unfortunately, not much was shown in Hikari's preliminary match for Sakura to make any predictions off of. Match 5 will be Hyuga Hinata vs Umo, announced Daru. 2 taijutsu users against one another, and based off the preliminary matches, Umo's speed and precision were something to be watched out for. If it wasn't for the lack of a Byakugan, some people were thinking Umo could be as precise as Neji. One thing Hinata knew was that she would have to get faster over the next few weeks to win this. Match 6 will be Hyuga Neji vs Hyuga Shinji, announced Daru. To be honest, both boys were cursing their luck. Shinji knew Neji was the stronger of the two, and Neji knew that he would lose if Shinji pulled the caged bird seal on him, which he honestly wouldn't put past Shinji to use. Match 7 will be Gaara vs Yakimaru. Both of them remained rather indifferent with the matchup. Match 8 will be Uchiha Sasuke vs Yakuro. Sasuke merely smirked at this. Looks like he would be the one to put the final member of that trio of Kumo ninja in their place. However, he did watch his person's battle, and he did have to admit that Yakuro was obviously much more skilled than the rest of his team. Perhaps Sasuke might get a challenge from one of them after all. Match 9 will be Amoe vs Shino. Both of them seemed rather indifferent about this match. Now, unless you have any other questions, the finals will be held in exactly 4 weeks from now. I strongly suggest you use the time to prepare for your upcoming matches. You know your first opponent, but you will not be told your second opponent until the day of the second match. As such, I recommend preparing for anything and everything, not just a single match. Those of you who are not from Kumagakure, you will be provided a few training grounds. Are there any more questions? Asked Daru. No one asked one. Good, then I will see you in 4 weeks' time. After everyone filed out of the base on the mountain to return to the village, there was a loud crash from behind. Daru turned to see that the wreckage had smashed a rather large hole into the wall. It was impressive though that he had managed to restrain himself that long. Outside, Konoha had gathered all of its ninja, with Asuna trio and Baki tagging along. Certainly has been an interesting week, hasn't it? Asked Kakashi. It'll be late by the time we return to the village. Why don't we go find something to eat and we can call it an early night? We'll start training tomorrow afternoon after you all have had a chance to rest. Upon arriving back in the village, the group of Konohasuna ninja made a quick stop at the hotel where they had checked in the night before moving on to find an open restaurant. However, Naruto had to go to a clothes store to pick up some sort of new shirt, which sadly wasn't in orange. However, everyone was wishing that it was orange, as Naruto had picked up a shirt with B's face on it and his catchphrase Bakayaro Kanoiro on the back, most likely a shirt from B's last Enka concert. It was on their way to some western-style steakhouse, much to Kuji's pleasure, that they saw the green-haired Taki ninja wandering through the village by herself. After some quick questions, the Konoha group soon realized that Fu was left in Kumo to train while the rest of her team returned to Taki. Naruto didn't like the idea of just leaving her hanging for the exam, but there really wasn't much that could be done, except invite her to dinner with the rest of them. Needless to say, Fu was shocked by the invitation. When she initially declined, saying that she didn't want to intrude on their night, Shino was the one who insisted that she join them. Minutes passed after their food was ordered and there was a lot of conversation going on between individual parties. While she was quite enjoying herself, Fu couldn't help but feel envious towards Naruto. He had just revealed to a good chunk of his friends that he was a Jinchuriki, and yet they still accepted him and laughed with him like nothing had happened. Is there a place where I could be accepted like that? Where people wouldn't care and I could just live a normal life? Thought Fu to herself. She was beginning to think that Konoha was sounding pretty good. until she caught the way Shinji was looking at Naruto. She remembered Naruto saying that he had to work hard for his friends, and it appeared as if this group was the reward for his hard work. Still, she already had 2 friends in Konoha, which was more than she had in Taki, and the way in which this dinner was going, it felt like more than just Naruto and Shino. As dinner arrived, Ino was surprisingly the first one to dig into the massive ribeye steak she ordered. While it was different from the food they were all used to eating back in Konoha, everyone at the table had to admit that the food was delicious. And for Ino's case, she probably could have out-eaten Kuji that night. It was like something finally snapped inside her after she also decided to give up her fangirl ways, and her body was making up for all the years of dieting. Afternoon the next day came and the Konoha were asked to meet up for their training assignments. Those who did not make the finals decided to stay and see if they could assist the others in training. However, the most surprising thing about the day had to be Naruto's new attire. Apparently, Hinata had dragged Naruto along shopping for a new outfit, after his got melted off of him when he went to save Tenten. Naruto had gotten rid of orange as the primary color and was now wearing a pair of black pants with matching ninja sandals. He was wearing a black vest with an orange shirt underneath which had sleeves that went halfway down the forearm. Naruto had also ditched the gloves in favor of a pair of orange bracers which he scribed the storage seals for his kunai and shuriken on. As the cloth on his headband had been damaged, he also had to have it remounted and now had a long black headband which the forehead protector had been remounted to. There was, however, one thing he managed to salvage from his old outfit, and that was the white Uzumaki swirl which he had on his left shoulder. Naruto had the patch sewn onto the same sleeve of his new shirt. He would have to get the large red Uzumaki swirl sewn on when he returned to Konoha. "Who the hell are you and what have you done with Naruto?" asked Kiba. "What are you talking about?" "I am Naruto," replied Naruto. "Yeah, but you're not orange," shouted Kiba. "Was it really that bad?" asked Naruto. "Yes," responded just about everyone there. "Yo! I see everyone's here," said Kakashi as the 4 Jonin senseis and Anko arrived at the training ground that had been assigned to Konoha. "And I see we have a newcomer here." Kakashi pointed straight at Naruto. "Not you too, Kakashi-sensei," pouted Naruto. Kakashi merely chuckled at this. "Anyways, let's go over the training assignments for all of you for the next few weeks, shall we?" said Kakashi. "I've sent word back to Konoha on who made it and requested for certain individuals to come up for some of you. They should be here by the end of the week at the latest. Now, Sasuke, you'll be with me obviously." "Fine," replied Sasuke. "Sakura, you'll be trained by Kurama and..." Kakashi was interrupted as Anko came and gave her new best friend a hug. "And Anko. Sadly, Tsunade-sama can't be here until the time of the matches. Besides, medical jutsu won't do you much good at this point in time, so Sakura and I will be helping out your genjutsu while Anko helps with the other stuff." "Other stuff?" Sakura asked with a worried look, receiving the look from Anko. "Yes. Naruto, I believe Jiraiya arrived yesterday, I just don't know where he is," said Kakashi. "Where's the nearest bathhouse?" asked Naruto. "Why would you want to know where the nearest bathhouse is?" asked Neji. "Because that's where I'll find Urasenin," replied Naruto. "At a bathhouse in Kumo." "Kumo does indeed have some fine ladies," said a certain white-haired man, perched atop one of the bathhouse buildings. "Ika perv," shouted one of the women who happened to notice Jiraiya. "Ladies, do not fear. I am the great toad sage of Mount Myaboku, the epitome of manliness, who will swoon any lady off her feet. I am Jiraiya," shouted Jiraiya, making one of his poses on one foot with an open palm outstretched. Apparently, the women in the bath didn't take this very well as they began throwing various buckets and wooden stools at him, knocking him off the building. Unfortunately, the landing wasn't much better and Jiraiya smacked his head against the ground, knocking him unconscious. Back to training. "Naruto, you'll be training with Jiraiya in the afternoon, but Asuma here has offered his services to help with your wind manipulation in the morning," said Kakashi. "Really? That's great. Thanks Asuma-sensei," said Naruto. "No problem. Now Shinji, your father's on the way here and he'll be taking over your training," said Asuma. "Very well," said Shinji. In reality, he was thankful to get away from this group of losers. "Lee, you and I will be training our youth together," shouted Guy. "Hi, Guy-sensei. I am looking forward to our youth-filled time together," replied Lee. "Neji, Hiyashi-sama is on his way too and will be taking over your youthful training," said Guy. Neji merely nodded. "Hinata, your father will be training you as well, however you will be working with Asuma in the mornings alongside Naruto on wind manipulation," said Kurenai. "Hi, Kurenai-sensei," replied Hinata. She was happy that she'd be working with Naruto some these weeks. Her father had also been growing more satisfied with her training these past months, but the one thing she really needed right now was speed training for her upcoming match. Hopefully Hiyashi would have something to help her out in that. And Shino, your dad is coming up here as well. You and Hinata are welcome to join me and Anko until your respective trainers arrive, said Kurenai. I understand, Sensei, replied Shino. My father is the best choice for my training. If there are no more questions, you are all dismissed to your respective trainers, said Kakashi as he took Sasuke off towards some isolated corner. I guess I'd better go find Uro-sen, then replied Naruto as he made his way to find his perverted teacher. It didn't take long for Naruto to arrive at the bathhouse and to see Jiraiya lying unconscious on the ground with a red mark on his face in the shape of a stoolie. Baka-sen inside Naruto. He then noticed a water balloon not far from Jiraiya. Hey, been a while since I've done this. Naruto performed the first phase of the Rasengan training and popped the water balloon over top Jiraiya, waking the perv with a splash of water. Who are you and what have you done with the Gaki? Asked Jiraiya. What are you talking about, Uro-sen? Asked Naruto. You're not orange. Replied Jiraiya. Not you too, sighed Naruto. I can't believe I'd see the day when you retire that bullseye of a jumpsuit, shouted Jiraiya, jumping for joy. I didn't retire it, it got destroyed in the exam, said a sad Naruto. He and that jumpsuit had been through a lot. Naruto even had a funeral for the jacket last night. Oh yeah. Since we're here, how about a bath and you can fill me in on everything that happened, suggested Jiraiya. Naruto agreed to this. Truth be told, he hadn't had a chance to take a warm relaxing bath since before the exams, and the showers at the mountain base only had 4 minutes of hot water at a time. I see, troubling that the Iwa ninja attacked you like that, but I'm glad you and our team came out all right. I'm also sorry you had to go QB mode to save that Tenten girl. But, it's reassuring to know that all of your friends still accept you, even after that, said Jiraiya. Yeah, I'm glad too, and that none of them managed to get killed against that Rakubi Jinchuriki, said Naruto. That definitely is A+. Still, that just proves that those bunch of brats you hang out with are worthy of being called friends, said Jiraiya. Now, who's this opponent you're facing in the first match? The Rakubi's Jinchuriki, replied Naruto. I see, said Jiraiya. Any thoughts on how you're going to do it? Naruto reached into his bag and pulled out his great-grandfather's books and unsealed the 2 sealing scrolls. Interesting. This one won't come in too much use against that guy, but this one may. You do realize though that these are incredibly complex seals though, said Jiraiya. I know, but I need them if I want to beat this guy, said Naruto. So you're not going to resort to the Kyuubi? Asked Jiraiya. No. As much as Furball is begging me to let him fight, I'm only going to use the Kyuubi chakra that's needed to counter his acid cloak, said Naruto. I don't know, I just feel this is just something I have to do. Good. Well, I guess we should get started. Learning those 2 seals in a month's time is going to be some task, but you did manage to get the Rasengan down by the start of the last tournament, said Jiraiya. Something then came to his mind. Oh, and I think I've got this new jutsu you'll like. What are we waiting for then? Kurenai-sensei, please, make her stop, begged Sakura. For the past 4 hours, Anko had been making Sakura do guy-level physical exercises. I'm sorry, but I can't do that. I'll admit, you've come a long way, but your stamina and chakra reserves could still use some improvement, responded Kurenai. Sakura stopped and sighed, which she probably shouldn't have done. The next thing Sakura felt was the tail of a snake slam into her and sent her back into a tree. Anko had summoned Shichi, a rather large blue snake, to give Sakura an incentive to run. That was fun, Pinky. I'm impressed you lasted that long, commented Anko with a big smile on her face. Sakura barely picked herself off the ground with the assistance of Ino, who had agreed to help Sakura with her training. Why don't you take an hour break for lunch and then we'll start on some genjutsu training, said Kurenai as Sakura welcomed the much needed break and Ino sat her down aside a tree. Damn Sakura, you look worse than I did the other day, said Ino. Oh come on, there's no way anyone could look worse than you. Hey! What did you saw, billboard brow? Sakura only laughed at this and Ino joined in. To Ino, she actually liked having her old friend back. Look Sakura, I've been thinking. I'm done going after Sasuke. This earned a confused look from Sakura. I overheard the way the 2 of you were talking in the cave that night, and I honestly think that if it hadn't been for Ramen Boy, something may have happened between the 2 of you. You may have given up on being a fangirl, but that still doesn't mean you don't like Sasuke. It's just you are the one to find the path to his heart. And to be honest, I've seen the way he looks at you at times. It'd just be cruel of me to do something like that to my best friend, especially after everything she's done to help me. Ino. Was all Sakura could say. It's like you said, there are thousands of other guys in Konoha that I need to make worship me. Ino smiled, making Sakura laugh as well. Now that I think of it, I can't think of a good reason why I liked Sasuke back in the academy. Sure, I know he's pretty hot, but now that I think of it, that's all. You've gotten a chance to know the real Sasuke, and if you still have feelings for him after that, then that means it's something more than just a silly little crush. Ino. Are you sure? Asked Sakura. Absolutely, replied Ino. Besides, it's like you said. There are hundreds of guys in Konoha that need to worship the beauty that is Ino. Ino and Sakura both got a laugh out of that. Those guys had better watch out then. And I'd hate to imagine what would happen if they piss you off, said Sakura. Oh yeah, they won't know what hit them, said Ino. And besides, now I really will have time to work on my shinobi training. I know you'll make Chunin this time around. I have absolute faith in my best friend. But don't think you'll be ahead of me for that long. Because come next exam, I'll be kicking ass and taking names. Don't you mean numbers? Replied Sakura. It depends on how hot those boys I beat are. This sent another laugh through the two girls. Anyways, I'm already falling behind. I mean, Hinata of all people is in a relationship. Remember back in the academy when we all thought she would be the last person to find love because she was so quiet and shy? Yeah, I do. And I'll say the most surprising thing was when we found out Naruto of all people finally asked her out. It was obvious to everyone but him that she liked him, but we all thought that her shyness and his thick-headedness would prevent them from ever getting together, replied Sakura. Man, that baka truly is full of surprises. But my life's changed so much because of him. To me, he's like that annoying little brother that you never wanted, but you find yourself not being able to live without. Sakura. Are you ready? Called out Kurenai. Wow, that time already? Said Sakura. Time flies when you're with me. Now go kick some ass, said Ino. Hurry up, Pinky. You can't be wasting time. We still need to get in our poison training for today, shouted Anko. Sakura and Ino paled at this. Help me. Sakura squeaked out. So Asuma-sensei, what sort of cool wind jutsu are you going to be teaching us? Asked Naruto. Well, I mainly wanted to focus on your knives, but since I know you can make a lot of shadow clones, we could have them learn the jutsus while you and I work on your wind blades, replied Asuma. Really? Sweet, shouted Naruto. Hey, but what about Hinata? She doesn't have wind blades. Is she going to be learning wind jutsu then? Not really. Hinata, your father wanted me to help you convert your normal chakra blasts into wind chakra blasts, explained Asuma. But what will that do? Asked Hinata. Honestly, I don't know for sure. But the two of us theorized that it would be like sending a wind blade directly into the opponent's chakra system, possibly destroying it instead of just blocking it, said Asuma. What? Exclaimed both Hinata and Naruto at the same time as Naruto looked slightly dumbfounded over at Hinata. Does she really have the ability to do that? That would be so amazing and so powerful. Thought Naruto. Hey, don't underestimate the power of wind. Wind can grind mountains into dust and rip even the strongest of trees from their roots. It's one of the reasons why I'm so powerful, bragged Kurama. Wait, I thought your element was fire? Asked Naruto. That's half right. I have two elements, fire and wind. For some reason, most people associate my element to fire, but my wind element is just as strong, if not stronger, explained the QB. Wait, so is that why I have a wind element? Asked Naruto. Somewhat. But your wind element is incredibly strong. Even without me, you would most likely be a wind user. I just serve to amplify that. And also, because of me, you do have a strong fire element. It's nowhere near as strong as your wind element, but it's still strong enough that I'd say you could master fire after wind without much effort. Wow, really? Hey, so you know if I have any elements? Asked Naruto. Just focus on those for now. I can't detect any other elements at this time, but it doesn't mean they won't develop as time passes. I hope they do. It'd be so awesome if I had a lightning element, then I could learn Kakashi-sensei's Chidori, said Naruto. Still stuck on that jutsu, huh? Now get back to training. Your vixen's wondering why you suddenly zoned out for a moment, said Kurama. That was one thing they would need to work on, was Naruto taking to him for extended conversations without zoning out a lot. Lightning's going to be tough for him because his wind element is so strong. Fire shouldn't be too hard for him because of me, and he can even use his own wind chakra to maybe amplify the fire chakra. I don't know about water, but that might work out for him. If I'm correct, Mita mentioned something about the Uzumakis being strong water users as well. Earth. This one I really don't know. Again, I think this one's going to be a problem for him, seeing that wind and earth are opposites in a way. If he could somehow manage to master all five, then I've got some interesting ideas. For now, I'll keep them to myself. Uncle, do you think I have a chance to beat him? Asked Neji. Are you more skilled than him? By far. I know what troubles you, and believe me, I feel the same, replied Hiyashi. I think, if I can end the fight quick enough, before he has time to use it, I can win, said Neji. I see. So you want to focus mainly on your speed, said Hiyashi. Yes, And I believe Hinata-sama requires the same training as well. Her opponent goes by the name Umo. From what I observed, he possesses incredible precision in close combat that I've only seen rivaled by our clan or the ice user Haku. Granted, he doesn't attack the chakra system, but rather uses fast and precise blows on the weak spots of the human body to create openings. In his preliminary match, after an initial shot to the solar plexus, it was practically over, explained Neji. Speaking of Hinata, said Hiyashi as Hinata joined them after finishing her morning session with Asuma. Hello father, Neji Niazan addressed Hinata, bowing to the two of them. However, Hinata's attention was diverted by a smaller girl that had been sitting along the side of the training area where they were. Hanabi? Hanabi slowly walked over towards Hinata and Hinata was wondering what exactly was going to happen. In all honesty, she hadn't seen her little sister much since their last match and at that time, Hanabi seemed bitter towards Hinata. Hinata's worries were washed away when Hanabi hugged her and began crying. Nizan, I'm sorry. I've been a horrible. I shouldn't have gotten mad, but I, cried Hanabi. Hinata bent down and hugged her sister back. Somehow, Hiyashi had managed to dehypnotize Hanabi. Uncle, if I may ask. Why is Hanabi here? Of all places, why did you bring her with you to Kumo? Asked Neji. It was either bring her here or where I could at least keep an eye on her or leave her back in Konoha for a month with the elders. I saw this as the lesser of two evils, argued Hiyashi. I will admit, as much of a nuisance as she can be, Onko's methods certainly were effective. It's okay Hanabi-chan. I forgive you, said Hinata. Hanabi looked up at her big sister and smiled. Now go kick everyone's ass. Hanabi, shouted both Hinata and Hiyashi at the 7-year-old's language. Sorry, Hanabi said, cringing a little. Hiyashi resumed the topic of training and handed both Neji and Hinata a set of seals that were made up from Jiraiya. These are a combination of weights and restriction seals. They will restrict your movements for training purposes. By training with these, you should see a drastic increase in your speeds. You will work with these on for the next 3 weeks and then take them off for the final week so that you can get used to fighting with quicker reflexes. Hi. Both Neji and Hinata said to their teacher for the month. After the day's practice, before Neji and Hinata returned to their inn to relax, Hiyashi pulled Neji aside for a brief moment. I know for a fact that Shinji does not know how to activate the seal, but I would not put it past Kendra to teach it to him. What to do is completely up to you, but just be aware that you are going up against someone who may not restrain himself from using the seal. Lee. Let us train our youthfulness together. Starting with 100 laps around the village, exclaimed Guy. Hi. Guy-sensei, shouted Lee. And if I cannot do that, then I will do 1,000 push-ups. And if you cannot do 1,000 push-ups, then I will do 3,000 sit-ups. Replied Guy. Will you two just stop it already? Shouted Tenten. Lee, she's right. We are wasting youthful time right now, said Guy. You are right, Guy-sensei. We must be training. Let us go into youth. With that, Lee and Guy took off into the sunset on their 100-lap marathon around Kumo. Father, I am concerned about my match, said Shinji. I will admit that Neji is one of the most skilled in our clan, but there is one move that can defeat him without fail, explained Kenjo, Shinji's father. This will take care of your match against Neji while we can spend time training you for the second match. I see. Very well then. After all, no branch member should surpass the main family. Neji must be reminded of his place, replied Shinji as his father showed him the one move he would need to defeat Neji, the activation of the caged bird seal. You're late, said Sasuke to Kakashi. The two had staked out a private training ground on the top of a nearby mountain. Sorry, but I found this eagle nest and, never mind, said Kakashi. So what do you have for me this time? Asked Sasuke. Well, let's take a look at your opponent first. In all honesty, I think he was holding back a lot, said Kakashi. You think? Said Sasuke sarcastically. Anyways, did you notice that he bore a strong resemblance to the proctor? Asked Kakashi. Now that Sasuke thought about it, Yakuro did look like a slightly younger version of the proctor, Daru. He had the same bulbous nose and similarly shaggy white hair. So you think they're related? I wouldn't be surprised, and I'm sure I saw him referring to Daru as brother. Which means there's a very good chance your opponent had a bloodline that he didn't reveal, explained Kakashi. What? How do you know he has a bloodline? Asked Sasuke. It's something you'll pick up with experience. Daru is known for possessing the Black Lightning, but that was given to him via seal from the Raikage, so you shouldn't have to worry about that. What you do have to watch out for is the Storm Release bloodline, though, I suspect, explained Kakashi. For Sasuke, this was beginning to sound more and more worth it for him. Perhaps Yakuro was just unfortunate to get paired up with a weak team. So do you know anything about this Storm Release? A little bit. I fought against it once and forced my opponent to retreat. "But it is quite powerful," said Kakashi. "Good," was all Sasuke said before the two got to work. Time skipped to the start of the first round. It was a busy day Kumagakure no Sato. Today was the day of the first round of fights for the Chunin exams and the stands at the arena were packed. Excitement was in the air as 18 promising competitors had proven themselves worthy of fighting for the masses. While 18 might seem like a surprisingly large pool of Chunin hopefuls, it was not odd for Kumo to have this many competitors in the final round. However, the surprising part was that the majority of the field was not made up of Kumo shinobi, but rather Konoha shinobi. Konoha had managed to secure 8 spots in the finals, Kumo had 6 spots, Suna had 2, Kiri had 1, and Taki had 1. As the crowds assembled into the stands, the 18 competitors were led out onto the field. Up in the cage box, the 4 village leaders who were able to attend the matches greeted each other before taking their seats. Shibuki, the new leader of Takigakure no Sato, Rachuka, the head elder of Sunagakure no Sato and acting Kazekage, Senjutsu Nade, the Hokage of Konohagakure no Sato, and the Raikage of Kumagakure no Sato. A scream was heard up from the cage box and everyone's attention turned to see Shibuki cowering after a messenger hawk landed on the Raikage's arm. All 18 competitors and the Kage's sweat dropped at this. "Hey Fu, is that scaredy cat really your village leader?" asked Naruto, receiving an embarrassed nod from Fu. As the stands filled, most of the crowd was obviously from Kumo, however there was a decent amount of Konoha citizens, due to the high number of Konoha participants. Out of these Konoha guests, the most important of them were Senjutsu Nade, Jiraiya, Hyuga Hiyashi, Akamiki Kuza, Narashikaku, Yamanaka Ninoigi, Inuzu Katsume, Aburame Shibi, Kurama Onkai, and Sarutobi Asuma. These shinobi were the heads of the major clans in Konoha who composed the Konoha Shinobi Council with the Hokage, who also happened to be one of the clan heads, at the head of the council. All the other villages present had similar bodies, and to the competitors, these were the most important people to impress as they were the ones deciding who gets promoted from their village. In a separate, more luxurious box, the lords from all around had gathered as well to watch the shinobi of their nations compete. However, the main reason they were there had nothing to do with the promoting of shinobi. They were simply there as these Chunin exams were seen as almost a time for them to kick back and party a little. But if there was one activity that really caught these old politicians' attention, it was the opportunity to gamble with one another on the outcome of the matches. The rest of the stands consisted of various people, mainly citizens of Kumagakure. But there were a certain number of foreigners who were allowed into the village to observe the exam. The members of the Konoha 12 along with their senseis all managed to get seats to cheer on their comrades, and there was one particular Chunin who was probably the most excited person to be here. Naruto's grown so much over the past year. I actually can't believe that he used to be that annoying little kid who would always disrupt my lectures. Yes, Iruka had somehow managed to pull a few strings and got himself a pass to come observe Naruto competing in the finals. But what's most surprising is that he's ditched the orange jumpsuit. Sure, I'll miss him wearing that, but he actually kind of looks like a shinobi now. The stands were abuzz with excitement as everyone was discussing the matches to come. Suddenly, everyone just stopped everything as a huge cloud of smoke appeared in the middle of the arena. As soon as the smoke cleared, the Hichibi was standing where the smoke was, shocking almost everyone present. A beat began to play as the Hichibi transformed into Killer Bee. "Know my name, know my fame, don't be lame. 8 tails, that's me to rap in Killer Bee. A tailed beast resides inside my hide. Making beats and rhymes and I'm making 'em live. It's what a Jinchuriki needs to survive. Battle after battle up in the beehive." Rapped as most of the Kumo citizens in the stands began to dance along. First a cute little cat, yeah, how about that? Yugito ni is the girl to be, just like the one and only Killer Bee. Our next competitor's hair is rather fair, it might be green but it really gleams. B. Just get on with the match, shouted the Raikage from the cage box. This is the last time I let him proctor an exam. B cringed at his brother's outburst and as such, got on with the match. Fu and Yugito remained down in the arena while all the remaining competitors continued up into the stands. "Yo, let's get on with this show," exclaimed B. "Does that mean start?" asked Fu as Yugito nodded in translation. The two kunoichi took their battle positions and Yugito was the first one to make a move. Kaden, Hellcat's Fury. Yugito exhaled a burst of fire that formed into about 6 flaming tigers and charged at Fu. Fu ducked underneath the first one and drove a knife into the second and third ones. A water jutsu would be good right about now. Oh wait, my bastard of a sensei never taught me anything while he was focusing on Takaru and Rigido. Fu was cursing her luck she was avoiding swipe after swipe from the 4 remaining cats. Over the past month, her team had returned to Taki, leaving her in Kumo to prepare for the upcoming exam, alone and without help. They retuned just a few days ago for the match, but she knew that they really didn't want to be there and the only reason they were was to escort Shibuki, and even he was only here because someone wearing a Takigakure headband had made it to the finals. As Fu fought off yet another flaming cat, Yugito appeared directly in front of her with her claws extended. Yugito swiped at Fu, who barely managed to dodge the worst of the attack. Still, her arms and legs were already burnt from fighting with the cats and now she had a rather nasty scratch across her stomach. I need to get away from these things, she thought. That's it. Fu jumped upward, hoping to get away from her attackers. The flaming cats and Yugito waited patiently for her to land, but that never happened. Whoa, exclaimed a lot of people from the stands. And there was something to whoa about. As Yugito looked up at her target, it was apparent Fu wasn't coming down as she now had what appeared to be two sets of wings coming out of the middle of her back. Hey, and I was beginning to think this match wouldn't get interesting, commented Yugito. That's awesome. She can fly, exclaimed Naruto. Yes, it is a very interesting ability, replied Shino. It's probably an ability she gets from Chomei, replied Kurama. Cool. Can you give me something that will make me fly? Asked Naruto. Kurama merely sweat dropped at this. What do I look like, a nine-winged fox? I can't fly, you idiot. Now, thought Fu as she saw a small opening. Ninpo, blinding scales. Fu exhaled a dust of tiny luminous scales at Yugito, blinding the fellow Jinchuriki and giving Fu her opportunity. With an impressive aerial speed, she zipped into range of Yugito to deliver a quick punch to the blonde kunoichi. Yugito slid back a few feet and Fu continued on with her attack. Yugito ducked underneath Fu's next attack and kicked upwards into Fu's stomach, sending her into the air. Fu was able to stabilize herself, just in time to see what was happening next. Katen, mouse hairball. Yugito unleashed her most powerful jutsu at Fu. The jutsu quickly split into multiple smaller fireballs and quickly locked onto Fu. With a surprising amount of speed, Fu began to outrun the oncoming attack. Unfortunately, she did not find that the attack was coming off and it still appeared to follow her. Damn. I need to do something to shake these fireballs, Fu thought as she noticed Yugito standing in the arena below. Okay, that should work. Fu altered her course for her opponent and was suddenly flying low to the ground towards Yugito, who was not waiting for Fu to get closer before swiping out with her claws. As Fu got closer, Yugito lashed out with her cat-like nails and caught Fu across the shoulder and arms. She knew there was a danger to attacking directly and she was hoping to dodge the attack, but she was still not fully able to control herself while flying. However, the risk paid off when she saw the many fireballs collide with Yugito. Fu got up, having crashed onto the ground after being attacked, got to her feet and watched as the smoke cleared. To her dismay, Yugito was still standing, surrounded by a faint blue flame that surrounded her body. I have to say you're more fun than I had hoped. If I were anyone else, that little strategy would have worked, said Yugito. Using the speed that she gained by tapping into her demonic chakra, Yugito quickly closed the distance between the two of them and pinned Fu to the ground with her claws at the green-haired girl's throat. I suggest you forfeit. Those are some pretty wings you've got and I'd hate to have to clip them. Fine, I'm done, said Fu, forfeiting the match. The tactics Yugito used at the beginning of the fight to trap her opponent were impressive, and I feel that if Fu didn't have that ability to fly, she would have been done. Still, that was an interesting ability of her, don't you say, Shibuki? Analyzed Tsunade from the cage box. PHFT. Whatever, he scoffed off. This caught the rest of the cage's attention. She may have lost, but that didn't mean that Shibuki had to be so harsh about it. Fu did put up a good performance and managed to impress quite a few people. As the medics came out to help Fu patch up her wounds, Yugito came over to chat with her competitors. Do you mind me asking if you had any more tricks? I mean, you only use the dust to blind and your flying abilities. That couldn't have been everything you had, could it? I wish I could say so, but my sensei and anyone in the village has pretty much refused to teach me due to my condition, replied Fu. This surprised Yugito. In Kumo, while Jinchuriki weren't the most coveted people, they were still treated decently as both Kumo and Jinchuriki had control over their bijou. From the sounds of it and other things that she noticed, Fu was not as well off as she was. Still, you were actually pretty good. Let me know if you ever want to play again, said Yugito, offering Fu a hand. Up in the stands, people were applauding the match. Even though he didn't show it, Shino was slightly disappointed that Fu lost, although he was impressed by a few of her abilities. Let's go, brat, it's your turn to die, commented Goyaku to Naruto as he left down the stairwell towards the arena. Naruto let out a deep breath. It was now or never. Naruto, said Hinata, grabbing his arm. Don't worry, Haim, I'll be fine. He almost killed 3 of my friends and I'm not going to let him get away with that. Tbo, replied Naruto. Naruto, Gaara said to his friend. I need to tell you something about him. Flashback. Gaara was walking through Kumo, in search of a particular fellow Jinchuriki. There was something he needed to know about Goyaku. The man was even more bloodthirsty and cold than Gaara had ever been, and he needed to know why. He came to the training ground that had been assigned to Goyaku and saw the fellow Jinchuriki sitting in the middle of a barren spot of earth, scorched by his very acid. Have you come to die as well? Asked Goyaku. I came merely because I need to know. I used to be just like you, one who only cared about killing. As a child, my own father attempted to kill me a total of six times, all because I was seen as an unstable threat to the village. Because of that, I came to the conclusion that my sole purpose on this planet was to kill, and that the only reason people existed was for me to kill them. I fell into the darkness and lost myself to it, seeking only to kill those who I felt would prove my existence. But by some miracle, I found a small spark of light, one that was able to pull me out of the darkness. That light was Uzumaki Naruto, the very person you are fighting in the final round. He was just like me, and yet he was completely different. He had faced everything I had as a child, the attempted killing, the fear, and emptiness that comes with being who we are. Yet, he chose a different path, one that I have now set myself upon. He chose to work hard and earn love, and as such that became his reason to live, to protect those he cares about, said Gaara. And as such, he has earned the love and respect of many people who now call him friend. A touching story, said Goyaku sarcastically. But I don't need that load of shit. You see, unlike the two of you, I was not born as a Jinchuriki. Even still, I was born a monster, and I liked it. I remember my first kill. I was only 4 at the time, and I can still remember my father's screams, the blood pouring from the hole in his chest. He was begging me to stop, and yet I kept going. Why? Because it felt so good. It was then that I learned that I was truly meant to kill. Gaara was actually shocked at this. Goyaku continued. I knew what love felt like. My mother loved me with all her heart. I killed her. Moments after I killed my father, the pleasure I felt from killing them was overwhelming. I had to have more. And then the day came that the Mizukage offered me a proposal that I couldn't refuse. He offered to turn me into the ultimate killing machine. Should I offer to serve him? I was 6 when the Rakubi was sealed into me, and ever since then, I haven't been able to stop killing. I was born a killer. I was meant to kill. And once I kill that brat and his pathetic friends, I'll kill you next. Gaara regained himself. It was like he just had a talk with the devil himself. This man. No, this monster had known the joys of love and friendship, and yet he merely tossed them aside to kill. I see. Then if that's the way you truly feel, then you will not succeed in killing Naruto. And you think you're going to stop me? Asked Goyaku. No. As much as I want to spare Naruto from burdening himself with you, I know for certain that someone who thinks the way you do will never win against him, replied Gaara. TSK. You've just ensured that brat will die a slow and excruciatingly painful death. I'm going to enjoy it with my entire being, said Goyaku with an evil look on his face. And flashback, I see, replied Naruto. He's not like me. He's gone too far in the darkness. In fact, he's actually chosen the darkness and shunned any form of love and caring for him. You will not be able to save him, as he won't even accept it. He truly is a demon, said Gaara. Don't worry. I knew that from the very first time I saw him. The Kyuubi actually gives me the abilities to sense stuff like this, and I know just how far he is. He tried to kill my friends twice now, and he's threatening everyone else. I won't let him get away with that. You can count on it, said Naruto as he turned to walk down the stairs. Naruto! Called out Neji. Naruto turned to see what it was that the Hyuga genius wanted. Kick his ass. Naruto, surprised by Neji's choice of words, but nonetheless grinned back. Kakashi-sensei? Do you think Naruto can really beat that monster? Asked Ino from up in the stands where most of the Konoha ninja had found their seats. No need to worry, Ino. Naruto's flames of youth burn too bright to be extinguished, said Guy, giving everyone the nice guy pose. But Guy-sensei, this guy's a monster. He nearly killed my team and Tenten. Replied Ino. But who is it who saved you? Replied Guy. Naruto's the only one who can fight this guy. The entire area around that guy is filled with acid that begins ravaging your lungs the moment you breathe it in, making it almost impossible to fight him head-on, explained Kakashi. But, and you guys have probably seen this, Naruto has an incredibly high regeneration due to the Kyuubi, enough to allow him to fight without worrying too much about the acid. Besides, I have a feeling he's going to surprise us. This is Naruto we are talking about anyways. So Asuma, mind sharing what Naruto learned? I'll say, those shadow clones of his and the massive chakra reserves he has is a blessing when it comes to learning jutsus. He had dozens of them working on some ninjutsu while I trained him with the chakra blades he's got. In 4 weeks' time, we were able to get 7 different jutsus hammered into his head. Not as good as a Sharingan, but still impressive, considering one of those is a high A rank Senasuma. The funny thing is that he found the scroll for said jutsu in some sort of journal that he said he got in Uzumaki. So I take it Naruto truly is an Uzumaki? Yes, and you'd be surprised with the other part of it, said Kakashi, sending the rest of the Jonin a look. He wasn't going to say much more on it in the middle of a crowd, and the Jonin just shot Kakashi a curious look. Back in the arena, Naruto had just walked out of the tunnel leading onto the arena. He had a serious look on his face, and the new, darker look made him actually seem like a serious ninja. Of all the matches, this was probably the most anticipated one of them all. Ever since the prelims, word had gotten out about Naruto being a Jinchuriki and that his opponent was also a Jinchuriki. For those placing bets, the odds were in favor of Goyaku at 5-1, primarily due to the reputation he had gained throughout Kirigakura as a sadistic killer who could kill you by just being in your presence. So you really want to do this on your own? I just need enough chakra to counteract the corrosive effects of his acid. Other than that, this is something I want to do myself. Besides, it's not like I've been doing nothing these past 4 weeks. I need to know if I'm getting strong on my own, replied Naruto. Fine, just don't get us both killed. Now go kick his ass. Naruto approached the center of the arena and a deathly silence overtook the stadium. After just a few seconds of just starting at his opponent, Naruto felt the necessary demonic chakra enter his system that he would need to combat Goyaku's acid aura. Before the match even began, Goyaku took a page from Naruto's book and sent a massive wave of ki at the blonde, hoping to get a reaction. Naruto didn't even flinch. He was used to ki of this magnitude, having learned how to combat it months ago from the Kyuubi. However, just because it didn't affect Naruto, doesn't mean that it simply went unnoticed. Throughout the stands, the observers with weaker constitutions couldn't hold themselves together. Some shuddered at the ki flooding the stadium, some spilled their bowels, some passed out, and some did some sort of combination of the three. This man really wanted to kill Naruto. I'd better begin this soon before the tension goes boom, thought B as he signaled for the fight to begin. Acid cannon, shouted Goyaku, forming balls of acid in his hand and shooting them out at Naruto. Futon, air bullets, shouted Naruto as he unleashed multiple spheres of compressed air towards the incoming acid balls. The two attacks collided in midair, dispersing the acid to a point where it didn't bother Naruto. Naruto rushed towards Goyaku and lashed out with a punch towards his opponent. Goyaku caught Naruto's fist and began to excrete acid from his own hand as it surrounded Naruto's fist. Even with the demonic chakra healing him, Naruto couldn't maintain prolonged contact with Goyaku as the acid on him was too concentrated. Naruto kicked Goyaku in the stomach, causing his opponent to release his grip on Naruto as Naruto retreated to allow his hand a few seconds to heal. It's been a while since someone's fought me up close like that. Usually, they just keel over and die when they get too close, commented Goyaku. Yeah? Well, there's a lot more where that came from. Shadow Clone Jutsu, shouted Naruto as about 15 clones popped into existence. The clones rushed at Goyaku, knives out. Acidic wave, shouted Goyaku as he moved his arm in a slashing motion and sent a spray of acid at the clones, causing all of them to dispel in a cloud of smoke. However, when the smoke cleared, Goyaku saw that it was only a mere diversion as Naruto and another clone had stayed back. Shuriken Shadow Clone Jutsu. Futon, great breakthrough. Naruto and the clone launched a combination assault on Goyaku as the Kiri Jinchuriki exhaled a thick cloud of acidic vapors to disintegrate the incoming shuriken before they would reach him. However, the shuriken were moving too fast and the blast of wind was helping to disperse some of the vapors, and some of the shuriken managed to get through. Even though they were dulled by the corrosion, a few managed to find their target as some embedded themselves in Goyaku's arms and shoulders. For the first time in years, Goyaku was facing someone who had actually managed to injure him. Oh yeah, I'm really going to enjoy killing you, growled Goyaku as he ripped the shuriken out of his shoulder. Is that all you ever think about? Killing? Responded an angry Naruto. What else is there to think about? I'm sure your little sand brat told you what I told him. I wanted to kill, it's what I was born to do, and the Rakubi only gave me another tool to do so, replied Goyaku. But all I care about is that you die. Goyaku rushed at Naruto with incredible speed, probably fueled by demonic chakra, and grabbed the blonde by the neck with his left arm, slamming him back into a nearby rock. Naruto could feel Goyaku's tight grip on his neck and the acid eating away at the skin and flesh on his neck at a quicker rate than he could heal. Naruto, shouted Hinata, Sakura, Hanabi, Ino, Tenten, Lee, Kiba, and Iruka from the stands. Goyaku began gathering acid into his right hand and Naruto knew he had to get free before Goyaku had a chance to slam that acid into him. Instinctively, Naruto reached into his kunai holster on his leg and pulled out his tri-pronged knife and channeled wind chakra into it. "This is where you die," shouted Goyaku as he thrusted his hand holding the ball of acid towards Naruto's head. At the last second, Naruto slashed with his wind blade through the arm that was holding him, severing it from Goyaku. Naruto dropped down, just in time for the acid ball to pass over his head and slam into the rock behind him. If Naruto would have looked back, he would have seen the acid melting away a good portion of the rock. "Futon, pressure palm," shouted Naruto as he gathered and compressed air between his open palms and shoved them into Goyaku's gut. The blast of pressurized air exploded into Goyaku and sent him flying back away from Naruto. In the stands, a breath that was held by everyone was released at once. "Too close there," Naruto commented. Kurenai and the rest of the Konoha observers nodded. Naruto rubbed his neck as his flesh slowly began to heal itself. That really was a close one. If he were anyone else, besides maybe Bakken, that acid would have eaten into the jugular vein in his neck and killed him right there. Not to mention that there was no telling what that acid ball would have done to his head. One thing was sure, he had to end this match soon before he started giving people a heart attack. "Looks like it's time for the jutsu that Uro-sennin taught me," said Naruto. He made the shadow clone seal, but continued on to make the tiger seal as he struggled to bring 5 clones into existence. "What's wrong with Naruto? He should be able to make more than 5 clones and even those 5 seemed like a task for him," commented Sakura, turning her attention to Neji, who had his eyes active. "Those aren't normal clones, they have more chakra than normal. It's like he purposefully overloaded them with chakra," replied Neji. "Overloaded? But why?" asked Sakura. "I don't really know, but knowing Naruto I'm not expecting anything out of the ordinary," replied Neji. Goyaku managed to pick himself up from the ground as he looked over towards his handless arm. He was getting real pissed at the boy. No longer did he care what it took, he was going to kill the brat. "Give me your power, so I can kill this piece of shit," he said to the demon inside him. Just as he said this, the 5 Naruto clones ran straight towards him. The 5 clones were upon him quick, but Goyaku did not expect what happened next. "Exploding clone jutsu," shouted Naruto as he formed a half-tiger seal with one of his hands. All 5 clones exploded in a massive blast and Goyaku was caught in the center of it. "In some Akatsuki hideout, art is an explosion," shouted Deidara as a massive explosion rang through the hideout. "What the hell was that for you moron?" replied Hidan's head, which had been separated from his body due to the blast. "I don't know. It feels like someone has just discovered the true joys of art, so I thought I would celebrate with an explosion," replied Deidara. "That's it. Get your ass over here so I can sacrifice it to Jashin," replied an angry Hidan. "And how are you going to do that?" "You're just ahead," replied Deidara as he wiggled his ass tauntingly in front of Hidan's severed head. "Yeah, ouch," shouted Deidara as Hidan bit down on Deidara's ass hard. "Who the hell taught the Gaki that jutsu?" shouted Tsunade from the cage box. "Jiraiya?" "Oh shit," replied now fearful Jiraiya from down by the Konoha spectators. "You know, I don't blame Tsunade-sama. Naruto could probably destroy an entire village with the jutsu once he masters it," replied Kakashi, looking over to a cowering Jiraiya. "Hey, that got you, you slug bastard," replied Naruto from down in the arena. His eyes widened in horror when a blood-red beam shot upwards from the middle of the dust cloud and a massive ki, larger than any felt before, flooded the stadium. "Shit!" A massive cry erupted from the cloud of dust and standing where Goyaku once was, stood a 5-tailed, blood-red, slug-like creature. "Shit! This is bad. Really bad," yelled Jiraiya from the stands as all the other Jonin and Jonan looked on in horror at what Naruto was now faced with. "This match is over, before we all fall over," Bakayaro Kanoiro said trying to end the match as things were now getting out of hand. A few octopus arms appeared out his back as he tried to restrain Goyaku, but found that he couldn't hold on as the acid on the 5-tailed cloak now had enough strength to quickly eat away at the Hachibi's flesh. Goyaku then did something that only made the situation worse. Small blue and red balls of chakra began forming above his mouth. He was determined to kill Naruto and he was going to tell Beast Ball Naruto, and the hundreds of spectators in the stands behind Naruto, including Naruto's friends. "Damn, I've got to end this now or a lot of people are going to die. I've got to use those 2 jutsu," said Naruto. "Shadow clone jutsu," shouted Naruto as 7 clones popped into existence. "Futon, Heaven's Hammer," shouted Naruto, after running through about 24 seals. Just as Goyaku was able to finish the tailed beast ball, an incredibly powerful column of air slammed down on top of him, pitting Goyaku to the ground and shattering the chakra ball before he could swallow it and unleash its power. "What was that?" asked Kakashi, completely surprised at the jutsu Naruto had just pulled out of his ass. "That was the A-rank jutsu I was talking about earlier," commented Asuma, surprised as well by the events happening below. The entire stands watched as the 7 Naruto clones moved into position surrounding Goyaku, equally spaced so that there would be 8 points surrounding Goyaku with the real Naruto as the 8th point. All 7 clones pulled out a tagged kunai and placed it at their feet as Naruto released the Heaven's Hammer and dropped to his knees panting. "Damn, that jutsu takes a crap ton of chakra," said Naruto. Despite the exhaustion, Naruto forced himself to his feet. He wasn't finished as Goyaku needed to be stopped before he killed anyone. Flashback. "So what do you think, Uro-senin?" asked Naruto, pointing to the sealing scroll he had just shown Jiraiya. "It might just work. If you can make a seal strong enough, then I think you'll be able to pull this off," replied Jiraiya. "How strong exactly does it have to be?" asked Naruto. 4 elements is the bare minimum for any sort of demonic entity. However, given the fact that you're going up against the Rakubi, I'd say 5 minimum, if not 6. The more elements you can add to the seal, the stronger it will be and the less risk there is of it coming undone, replied Jiraiya. "But this is still an incredibly difficult seal and just getting the necessary 4 elements is going to be extremely difficult for you." "I see." End flashback. 4 elements, huh? And that will barely hold. If you say that 6 would be required to restrain that damned slug, then I'll make sure it never sees the light of day again, declared Naruto as he began going through hand seals. "What's Naruto doing now?" asked Kurenai. "What? He's going for 8? exclaimed Jiraiya. 8? 8 what?" replied Kurenai. "You've got some knowledge in Fuinjutsu, just watch," replied Jiraiya, directing everyone's attention back towards the match. Back in the arena, Goyaku made his way to his feet after being crushed by that massive column of air. "You will die now." As Goyaku finished his threat, the 8 tags surrounding him lit up. "You will never threaten my friends again," declared Naruto as he finished the hand seals and slammed his hands on the ground in front of him. Fuinjutsu, Uzumaki style 8 element suppression seal. Bind. Sealing kanji erupted from the 8 points surrounding Goyaku and converged at the point underneath him where an Uzumaki spiral formed. In a chain-like fashion, the 8 kanji lines going from the 7 tagged kunai and Naruto towards the center of the seal rose up and wrapped themselves around Goyaku as they proceeded to chain the monster to the seal beneath it. Goyaku let out a piercing scream as he struggled to get to his feet, but to no avail. The seal had a strong enough hold on him to stop him from doing anything as the crowds just watched on in complete surprise at everything that was going on below. "Now, don't you ever come back out again. You damn slug." "Seal," exclaimed Naruto, making the serpent seal with his hands. The seal on the arena floor began to twist and work its way towards Goyaku as it worked to suppress the Rakubi's chakra to a point where Goyaku wouldn't have access to even a slight drop of it ever again. Goyaku screamed out in pain as the sealing completed with an Uzumaki 8-point suppression seal appearing over top his seal, which was now visible on the center of Goyaku's chest just above his heart. The blood-red chakra cloak retreated from the Kirijin Shuriki as all access to the Rakubi's chakra was completely sealed away. Goyaku now stood, severely weakened and barely able to stand. He was just on the verge of consciousness, but no matter what happened now, the brat was going to pay. If he died, fine. So long as he took Naruto to hell with him. Naruto felt the remaining chakra he had left. That A-rank wind jutsu and the subsequent sealing had taken a lot out of him. He had just enough chakra for one last jutsu, just enough to send one more clear message to Goyaku. Naruto rose to his feet, holding out his palm and channeling chakra into, forming the sphere of condensed and spiraling chakra. He then proceeded to charge at Goyaku, whose eyes had grown wide at the jutsu in Naruto's hand. Naruto slammed the orb of chakra into Goyaku's stomach. "Rasengan!" shouted Naruto as Goyaku was shot back against the opposite wall of the arena where he finally collapsed. For a good minute, the entire stadium remained in complete and utter silence, wondering if Goyaku would get back up, and hoping he wouldn't, before erupting in cheers. "Uzumaki Naruto is the winner." "Yeah," shouted B, as Naruto finally collapsed from exhaustion with a huge satisfied grin on his face. Jiraiya was the first one down as he checked on his still conscious student. "Not bad, Gaki." "Not bad at all," said Jiraiya. "Hey, thanks Uro-senin," replied Naruto. "So you want to go rest now?" asked Jiraiya. "Hell no. I've got 3 days before the next round and I've still got to watch everyone's match," replied Naruto. "Hey, why am I not surprised?" replied Jiraiya. "How about I take you back up into the stands, at least there you can sit down." "Sure, but can I go talk to everyone first?" asked Naruto as Jiraiya carried Naruto into the tunnel and towards the contestants' box. "Not bad, kid, not bad at all." A Jonin knowing that level of jutsu is just completely unheard of. He can think quick on his feet when the situation becomes dire and he doesn't hesitate, something a Chunin needs to be able to do at times. And he thought of way to defeat such a monster before I could kill any one of us, who were in the stands right behind him. He could have given up, and honestly, most of us would have been running for our lives after facing a pissed-off Jinchuriki. But he held his ground, not wanting to endanger anyone else, and pulled through, commented one of the Konoha Chunin in the audience. The Chunin turned to another Chunin seated next to him. "What do you think, Gotetsu?" "I know one thing for sure, this does indeed beat gate duty. Still, he's got some qualities that a Chunin needs. He might not be the smartest out there, but he can think up effective solutions to problems on the battlefield rather quick," replied Kotetsu to his buddy, Izumo. "So it looks like he'll have another fight. I look forward to seeing what the kid can do there. But I will say this, boy were we wrong about him from the very beginning," replied Izumo. The Kages were still in utter disbelief at what they had just witnessed, even Tsunade. The Raikage was the first to break out of his stupor and slip into thought. So the last name isn't just for show. That blonde brat really is an Uzumaki. Damn it. And with the power of the QB, he's going to turn into a huge threat one day. If anything was evident by today's match, it was that something's going to need to be done. Tsunade regained herself in time to catch the look on the Raikage's face. That can't be a good look. I can't even begin to imagine what the Raikage is thinking right now. I'm pretty sure about this though. It's only a matter of time now before Naruto's got the Raikage on his ass. But still, I can't believe the Gaki actually pulled that off. Tsunade stood up as she went to collect her winnings from the bet that she had placed on Naruto. "Naruto!" shouted Hinata as she ran over to Naruto as Jiraiya set the blonde on his feet. Naruto's legs were still weak, but he found that he was at least able to stand. Unfortunately, he didn't have enough strength to keep himself up when Hinata jumped him and the two of them fell to the ground with Hinata on top. "Hey you two, here's not the place for that kind of stuff. I'm sorry, but you're going to have to wait until we get back to the hotel," said Jiraiya in a perverted tone as Naruto and Hinata invented a new shade of red. "Just shut up you damn pervert," replied Naruto, only causing Jiraiya to laugh harder than he already was. "That was amazing Naruto," said Sakura, coming over to congratulate the blonde. "Very nicely done, Naruto. Your youthful flames are truly burning brighter than ever," exclaimed Lee. "Yes, that was an impressive battle," commented Shino. "You never cease to surprise me, Naruto," said Neji. The next one to do something was Sasuke, who just extended a hand to help Naruto up off the ground. Naruto took the hand and stood up so that he and Sasuke were staring directly into each other's eyes. "Now I really want to fight you, Dobi," said Sasuke. Naruto instantly recognized this as a Sasuke comment. "Hey, thanks everyone, and don't worry Sasuke, there's still one more round to go. We'll meet there, T-Bio," assured Naruto. "You guys really are idiots if you think you will face each other in the next round. There are at least 17 competitors, which means the odds of you two actually meeting are pretty slim," responded Shinji with an annoyed tone. "They will fight in the next round." "It has been fated," said Neji, earning a glare from Shinji. "You know, normally I'd smack you for that, but for once, I'm not arguing," replied Naruto. "And thanks everyone. Now you guys go kick ass in your matches and I'll see you afterwards." "Where are you going, Naruto?" asked Hinata. "Uro-sennin wants me to come up to the stands to sit down." "I don't see why though, I can stand perfectly fine," said Naruto as he almost stumbled over. "Just go sit." "Don't worry Naruto, everything will be fine," said Sakura as Jiraiya helped Naruto up to the stands and Lee and Tamari made their way to the arena for their match. As Naruto arrived at the Konoha section in the stands, he was greeted by a standing ovation from the 100 or so Konoha citizens who had managed to make their way to the exams. However, Iruka was the one to approach Naruto. "I'm so proud of how far you've come, Naruto," said Iruka, smiling to his former student. "Thanks Iruka-sensei, that means a lot," replied Naruto as a tear came to his eye and he found a seat in between Iruka and Kiba. "That was amazing Naruto," exclaimed the members of the Konoha 12 who were already there. "Yes, very impressive fight Naruto, and you probably saved us all from whatever that attack your opponent was charging up," said Hiyashi as he and his younger daughter made their way towards where Naruto was now seated. "Yay! Naruto Niazan won!" cheered Hanabi. For Naruto, it certainly was nice to have the old, not manipulated Hanabi back. Before Hanabi exploded that one day, when Hinata and Hanabi were close with one another, and since Hinata and Naruto had begun dating before then, Hanabi, for some reason, began calling him Nia-san back then. Naruto wasn't arguing and it certainly was nice that Hinata and her sister were back to being close with one another. Okay, enough about me. Bushibrow's fight is starting," said Naruto, diverting everyone's attention to the fight in the arena. "Yosh! Go Ali! Let your flames of youth shine just like Naruto, shouted Guy, deafening everyone within earshot of him. Yo, it's our green little fighter, keeps on trukin' so his flames getting brighter. And I'm a fan all the way, so don't get blown away. Hey! Yeah, this is definitely the last time I let him proctor an exam, commented the rakish from the exam box. Tsunade was trying to hold back her laughs. Excuse me, does that mean we can start? Asked Lee politely. You got it, man, replied B. Tamari made the first move as she jumped backwards, away from Lee and opened her fan fully. She would have to end it now because she was a long-ranged fighter and the minute Lee got within close range of her. It was all over. Futon, great sickle weasel jutsu, shouted Tamari as she aimed a massive gust of wind towards Lee. Lee was soon dancing around the wind blades created via Tamari's technique as she launched off another attack towards him. Dang it. I can't get close to her if I have to keep dancing around like this, thought Lee. Lee. Take them off. Guy's voice was heard throughout the stadium, except by those who he had already deafened. Lee backed away upon hearing this and Tamari swore to herself. She had seen Lee fight when he takes his ankle weights off and there was no way she was going to let him do it now. Summoning, Kamatari, she shouted after smearing some blood on her fan and giving it a good swipe. A sickle weasel puffed onto the field and quickly made its way towards Lee. The weasel began swinging its sickle at Lee, hoping to stop Lee from gaining a moment to take his weights off. I need to take my weights off, but I can't seem to find the time. If I stop, then this weasel will slice. Wait. That's it, thought Lee. As he was dodging the weasel's attacks, Lee moved his legs in range of the sickle just enough that it would cut through the fabric holding the weights on his legs. Lee's plan worked and the sickle weasel had cut off his weights while not cutting off his legs. Now Lee was moving much faster than before and Tamari was swearing. Not bad. Couldn't take his weights off so he had the weasel do it for him, commented Kakashi. Lee took an extra step backwards to buy himself some room. Once his feet touched the ground, he was off and Tamari lost track of him. Tamari turned around just in time to move her fan to block one of Lee's oncoming kicks. Lee's kick met her fan and Tamari found herself sliding backwards a bit. This was really bad for her now as Lee was in melee range and most of her skills had gone down the drain. Lee's follow-up attack came swift with a sweeping kick that knocked Tamari off her feet. For a brief moment, Tamari's eyes closed when she hit the ground. When she opened them, Lee's fist was less than an inch from her nose. Apparently, Lee was either giving her a chance to surrender or he couldn't hit her for some reason. Still, she knew that had this been combat outside the arena, she would probably be dead right now as Lee could have been holding some sort of weapon or blade. Damn, and I was hoping to actually keep you away from me where I could win this. It's over, there's no way I'm winning now, said Tamari, forfeiting the match. Yes. I won. Did you see that, Guy-sensei? Shouted Lee, looking up towards the balcony. Up in the stands, Guy was trying his best to keep his composure, even though tears were streaming down his face. Everyone thought he was going to manage, until Guy bolted over the railing of the stands and landed on the arena floor. Lee. I'm so proud of you. Guy-sensei. Lee. Guy-sensei. The two embraced in a hug with the ocean sunset as the backdrop. Everyone watching this horrific event was either trying to dispel the genjutsu or wishing that they were facing the Rakubi right about now. As Lee and Guy were heading back into the stadium, Sakura and Hikari were on their way out to the arena for their match. Sakura, I wish you luck, and may your own flames burn as brightly as mine did, exclaimed Lee, giving Sakura the knee sky pose. Thanks, Lee, replied Sakura. Sakura and her opponent faced each other. Hikari was probably about 2 to 3 years older than Sakura and had her brown hair in a bun with a few large needles holding it together. Because of her age, she was at least a good 6 inches taller than Sakura, giving her the size advantage if they came into close combat. However, the question was she as strong as Sakura? Hey Kurenai-sensei, you worked with Sakura these past few weeks, right? Asked Naruto. How much did she improve? Well, I've been focusing mainly on her genjutsu, and I will admit she has some amazing potential in that area. Her genjutsu's improved tremendously and now I'm almost wishing I had her on my team. If I had a year to work on her, who knows where she'd be right now. And thanks to Anko, her agility, stamina, and taijutsu have shown a good deal of improvement, said Kurenai. Wow. Sakura's going to kick ass then. Replied Naruto. Though I still feel sorry she had to spend a month with the crazy snake lady. As B declared the match to start, Sakura made the first move, starting off with a few senbon aimed at her opponent. Hikari easily dodged them and darted towards Sakura. Sakura slid into a defensive stance and pulled a kunai, not really sure what to expect from her opponent. Hikari threw a straight punch towards Sakura, who blocked it with ease. However, as Hikari's fist connected with Sakura's arms, the pinkette felt a shock in her right arm, followed by a numbness in said arm. Out of surprise, Sakura retreated back a little to check what exactly happened to her arm. "Kakashi-sensei, what's up with Sakura?" asked Naruto. "I don't really know. A punch like that shouldn't have had much effect on Sakura, but it did," replied Kakashi. "I think I know," replied Guy, who had just arrived back at the stands with a victorious Lee. "Hyuga-sama, if I may borrow your eyes." Hiyashi nodded at Guy's request and activated his Byakugan and focused in on Sakura's arm as told, followed by Hikari's arm. Sakura's chakra is fine, it's her nerves that are shaken up, but they are starting to recover. As for her opponent, there is a thin shroud of lightning chakra surrounding her hand. Replied Guy. "Guy-sensei? What is it?" asked Lee. "Then my assumption about her from the prelims was correct. She is a user of the Raken," responded Guy. "Lightning fist? What's that, bushy brows sensei?" asked Naruto. "The Raken is probably the most formidable taijutsu style that Kumagakure has access to. The user surrounds their hand with a thin layer of static electricity that numbs and stuns the opponent upon contact. So when Sakura blocked right there, the electricity surrounding Hikari's fist numbed her arm," explained the taijutsu expert. "The electricity messes with the nerves in the area it hit and temporarily messes them up. However, because the amount of electricity surrounding her hands is minimal, the numbing sensation only lasts 30 seconds at most. So Sakura should be regaining control of her arm right about now." Guy was correct in that Sakura could feel the feeling come back to her arm. "I think I see. It's just like Tsunadeshishu's Ranshin, only not as strong. I should probably stay away from her hands then. I need to immobilize her somehow so I can attack without worrying about those hands," thought Sakura. "Hey, think that little spark you call an attack is going to affect me?" Sakura began taunting as she came up with a plan. "You couldn't even light up a light bulb with the measly electricity you've got." As Sakura proceeded to dodge a few punches from an enraged Hikari who was taking the taunts, Guy continued on with his explanation. "Unlike the Juken, the Raken doesn't damage any internal organs or tissue, just scrambles the nerve impulses for a few seconds. However, that doesn't mean that a user of the Raken can't score a fatal blow with it. If they manage to land a hit to the head, scrambling the nerve signals in the brain could actually prove fatal." "Wow. You actually know a lot about this stuff, bushy brows sensei," replied Naruto. Guy flashed his smile towards Naruto. "Taijutsu is the form of combat that utilizes the strength of the body itself. As a master of taijutsu, I am also a master of the body." "Too bad you're not a master of the mind as well," thought Tenten. Sakura was backpedaling away from Hikari, dodging punch after punch as she made her way towards a few trees that were placed around the outside of the arena. However, as she was backing up, Sakura momentarily forgot where she was going and she backed up into a tree, and Hikari saw this by slamming a charged fist into Sakura's chest. Hikari then took her other hand and grabbed the top of Sakura's head as electricity raced through her. "Sakura!" shouted both Lee and Naruto. As Lee and Naruto said that, Sakura began to be absorbed by the tree and Hikari was surprised as the tree started to bind her as well. Before she could escape, the tree wrapped itself around Hikari, immobilizing her. "Hey, gotcha," said Sakura, appearing on the branch of said tree, completely unharmed. "What? How?" responded Hikari. "Genjutsu," answered Sakura, throwing a few senbon needles into Hikari's exposed shoulder. A few seconds later, and Hikari was out like a log. "She won't be waking up for an hour or so," Sakura called out to B. Bin nodded. "The match is over as Hikari is a dozer," said B. "Yeah. Way to go, Sakura," shouted Naruto and Lee. Other cheers and applause were heard from the stands. "It's a shame that we didn't get to see more of the Raken." But Hikari was so content on just getting a hand on Sakura that she didn't realize she was walking into a trap, replied Guy. "What technique was that Sakura used?" asked Naruto. "Tree binding technique," replied Kurenai. "It's a higher level genjutsu that I taught her." In the arena, Sakura heard the applause and turned towards the stands. This wasn't something that she got to experience from the first exams, thanks to Ino, but it came as a pleasant surprise to her as she couldn't help but smiling. "Hey, attacks that screw with the nerves aren't going to work that well on Sakura," thought Tsunade. Once she figured out what was going on, all she had to do was stay away from Hikari until the proper time came to strike. And being a med nin, dodging those attacks were easy for her. Similar thoughts were going through the crowd as Sakura proceeded back into the stadium, and a few minutes intermission was given to the stadium before continuing on with the match, giving B the perfect opportunity to entertain the crowds with his anchor rapping skills. "Not bad down there," complimented Sasuke as Sakura returned to the competitor's box. "I had her from the moment I realized what she could do, which wasn't that hard given that I am a med nin after all," bragged Sakura. "Besides, after a month with Anko, you either learn to not let anything hit you or you learn what pain truly is." Sakura turned back towards the door to go join Naruto and Lee back in the stands. So you're just going to leave me here alone? Asked Sasuke, mixing in hints of joking and pleading in his voice. You're not alone, you've got 3 Hyugas, Gaara, and a few Kumo ninja to keep you company, responded Sakura, returning the joke. It seems I have been forgotten again, thought Shino. It was bad enough that the author forgot about me during the training montage, but now my own friends? Shino disappeared to the corner to sulk. It's okay, Shino. I didn't forget about you, said Hinata, trying to cheer her teammate up. Thank you, Hinata. But you should be going, your match is about to start, responded Shino. Hinata, good luck out there, said Sakura before she continued up to the stands. The crowds began to cheer as the next 2 competitors took the field. The next match was against what Kumo considered their taijutsu prodigy and Hyuga, a clan that was known for their unique taijutsu style. This was another of the highly anticipated matches in these Chunin exams, as Kumo looked to prove that they were superior in taijutsu to the Hyugas, especially after the whole incident, almost 10 years ago. Finally, shouted Naruto as he noticed Hinata take the field with her opponent, Kumo. Kick some ass, Hinata. Let's go, Nizan. You can beat him, shouted Hanabi, in an un-Hyuga-like fashion that earned her a glare from Hyuga Kanjo and Hyuga Iroh, Shinji's father and grandfather from the main branch, and the same people who had tried to brainwash Hanabi. Naruto, Hanabi-chan, everyone, I won't let you down. I promise that on my Nindo, thought Hinata as she activated her bloodline and slipped into the Juken stance. Hey, a Hyuga and the main branch won too. This ought to be fun. But the Hyuga won't stand a chance. I've trained myself to be able to fight the Juken. Perhaps if I can manage to kill her and take those eyes of hers before this match is over, Reikage-sama will give me more than just a promotion, thought Kumo as he entered his taijutsu stance. That's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on my other social media accounts. Anime God here, and I'm signing off.